All right, let's go live. And then what I want to check.
Don't tell me what to do.
You ain't my daddy. All right.
Yeah, I'm only about $150 away from blowing this account already, so it's been a pretty fucked up morning.
That's man. How hard you been trading this morning?
Not very hard, dude. I took 2 trades and I lost 300 some odd dollars on each trade. So,
Interesting.
I'm not, ready to fucking.
Well, it sounds like you definitely would need the Neo. You might want to not take a trade right now because that's definitely gonna mess with your emotions. But is that your eval or your funded?
No, that's funded. It's one that I made equity in all week, and I
Yeah.
was up
I don't.
$450 in it. I lost
I'm not
all.
sure when you started trading, but that was my first comment in the morning was I would be really careful because we have FOMC today.
Yeah, I got on at 5 my time, which was about 40 minutes ago.
Gotcha. I'm trying to get this. So I've already got a live. Oh, it must have took a minute to. Let me delete this one. A test. Okay, because what I want to see, and maybe it's not possible, but like, oh, there we go. Okay, now it popped up. I'm trying to get this. All right, mute that. Can somebody go into the live and just type, please? I appreciate those of you that help me with this stuff. I just gotta not a master at this by any means. Just type a question. I just want to see if I can see it, and then I want to see if I can type back. Morning. Okay, perfect. And it says next step algo. Awesome. That's what I'm gonna do, guys. That's the easiest fix. Is I'll just go onto my own YouTube channel, and do it that way. Okay. So let's do that. Yeah, because for the longest time, I just kind of gave up on even watching comments for YouTube just because I wasn't really getting a lot of people watching it in the algo. But I'm kind of also curious. So, any of you that are willing, you don't have to, but if you don't mind joining the YouTube and just put it on mute and leave it there. And I'm kind of curious because YouTube's different than TikTok. There's no it's weird. Like, there's no algorithm that throws you basically that's puts you into an algo that as people are scrolling they can join, right?
Maybe you could at least go like the video every morning or something.
Yeah, no, some of you guys that have been doing that, I really appreciate that too, especially with the shorts, man. I went so long with like no views on shorts; they were just straight blocking me. Like, good lord. Uh, and so a few of you started liking them and even commenting on them, and then they started to get a little traction. So, like I said, I appreciate all the help with that stuff, and as things get rolling, I definitely will remember those things. All right.
Hey Nick, if you can adjust the Google Meets to go longer, because when you close those, when we go over there and watch, and then you close them, we can't get back into the Google Meets.
Oh, I think it
Yeah,
shuts off at 11, right? Or 10.
yeah. So I don't know if you can make an adjustment or it's just hard to be in both of them. We kind of missed the whole recap after we closed down.
Oh, I thought you were listening in Google Meet and then just join the YouTube and then mute it is kind of what I was aiming for. But yeah, I can. It's hard because it's automated. So Alex has it where it removes it at like I think 11:15. I think it's 15 minutes after. And so if it's a day where we go to like 12 or 1 or instead of me asking Alex to fix that, I just have to do better at saying, "Hey, we're gonna keep trading because the market's good. Let me post this link again, right? Because if I post it again, it just won't take it out. Versus because if he changes it and then I forget, right, it'll stay open session all day. Yeah, that's it. That's you're spot on with that, Ryan. But yeah, let's open this thing up. I know we're already live on YouTube, so let's clean this out. Push that. Da da da. Okay. And the price didn't really do much other than push up a little and pull back a little. So we'll see where we open with this, guys. I'm gonna just use the restroom real quick, and then we'll dive into some TA. So all of that took way longer than I thought. So, but you didn't miss much because maybe a couple shorts in here would have been decent, right, from the trap. But with the news at 8:30 and then splitting into open, it's not that an ideal time to do the morning trading on it. So yeah, I'm just gonna use the restroom real quick for a minute, and then let's do the TA.
Hey Cody, you notice he does this every morning? He goes and has a nervous wee before market open.
Oh yeah, it's definitely he's scared.
Don't laugh, guys. It's a real thing. So motor racing, all the mates, just before the we had to suit up and get in the cars or in the carts or whatever. So it's right through. So they all they all go running to the toilet. So just before the race. Yeah. We just coined it. So going for a nervous wee, are we? So
That's funny because that's what you get in a race car less than you want to worry about is holding your
yeah.
bladder.
They probably got so many cars now. You just pee while you're driving.
I think who was it? Ayrton Senna did that.
Okay.
Well, who'd ever know if it was cooling or if it was heat running out the bottom of the race car?
All right. Oh man, guys, do you ever get those days where you just feel a little out of whack, and then those are the days where I'm like, kind of have that hesitation of like maybe the world's telling you something in the morning, and so I have to be a little extra careful today. I don't know. I have to just lean on Neo's guidance. I will tell you guys in some transparency, as you guys know, for me, I built Neo in a way that not only he's valuable for people, but for myself, right, too, because I intentionally added certain things and had him look at certain things that would help even experienced traders. And um, I don't know the number, but we'll just throw out a number. I think I'm probably, as far as the times that he would say uh, a bias or the whole liquidity, or if I was a market maker, go this way or drop it this way. I think I'm like 0 for 4 against him, jerk. Because being the one that built them, right, I'm gonna challenge it sometimes, and he'll say something like, "Oh, this is gonna go wherever," and I'm like, "I don't think so. I don't see that." And so I'll watch it, and a couple times I even took trades against it and had to stop out, right, because he was right. And so there's the you guys know it's very annoying to be wrong, but it's even more annoying when the AI or the technology that you built is right and you don't listen to it. It's even worse. And so I listened to him quite a bit, and it's worked through a lot of the testing. But every time I think I know a little bit better, he's proven me wrong so far. So jerk. But
Not
that's
bad
the
for a 2-month-old trader.
right.
Yeah.
This mother trucker. No, like no, and it's not massive things, right? But it's like little stuff like this, right, guys? And I won't spend long on this, so we can do the TA. But like, let's say, I don't know, he will have price where it is here, and then he will throw out the whole. If I was a market maker, I would sweep the low and retest that, 447. And I'll look at this like, man, we have a parallel channel, a retest. Like this shit's going up. Like, what is he talking about? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm primarily long, right? And then it'll pull, and I'll do pretty decent through it, but then it'll kind of push, and I'm like, all right, cool, I got my trade, and then it would pull back 50%, and it would look like it's gonna hold support. I'd jump back in, and sure as shit, right, it'll do this and then just drop, and I'm like, this dude. It's so frustrating. It's not having a lot, but I mean, that's kind of my job too, is to challenge him, right? And I think I'm like 0 for 4 in the past like 2 weeks that I've went against him. Uh, and so I can admit a little humility in it. Um, anyways, morning guys, welcome. I know some are piling in. Right. I gotta move that over because there's no chance I'm gonna look that way and see that. I'm gonna move that. Now that I don't have TikTok, I'm gonna put the YouTube right here. All right. There you go. Now I can see the comments and such. That works. I'm a very systematic person, guys, and so it is always difficult for me to change things. It throws me off a little bit, my OCD. So change is a good thing. I'm a big believer in it, but not when it deals with things I do every day like this. All right. Guys, welcome, morning. All these blue lines that you see up here are all calls from Neo at some point or another. I want to give him a fresh start. I don't want any of this stuff because things change, right? As I look up, look down, I don't see anything else within range on this chart. So this is my 15-second chart. This is my 1-minute chart. If you noticed when I did it, just for those that follow me or follow along with me on my chart, I was putting a lot of Neo's lines here, but it just kind of adds to a lot of lines, and especially during market open, right, I do spend a lot of time on the 15-second, right, scalping. And so I started putting Neo's lines here to separate them from my lines, right, on there. And so looking at some quick TA, guys, because we have 9 minutes to open, is we're not really in a much better spot than we were yesterday, in my opinion. But if you think about it, we had this push here, right? We failed that high, lost these levels there, right? That 890 is pretty big. Kind of seen as an ugly double top here, came down, got our expansion. That expansion, this is where I am saying it's not much of a better place. So here's our low of that move, right? Somewhere around there. We're just retracement into the 50% and we bounce, right? And we reclaim some pretty big levels, right? So that's more bullish. Now, the fact that we have this lower high could be structurally more bearish, right? Because of the descent we had here. So this open today and how the news treats today is going to heavily weigh as to, are we going to begin a deeper descent, right? And we're just finding our top and we're going to oscillate. Most people don't realize that we're actually distributing until, it does this like 4 times, right? And then it's like, oh man, if I would have just took a push south, I mean, these are massive moves, right? I don't know that that's going to happen yet. We have to look at the signs, right? It's really early. But the thing that I do know is we can measure weakness, through institutional positioning, which is where Neo can help. And we can measure the structure based on how the moves, right, are extending, right? And so that's also where Neo can help. So let me look at this teal line. Yeah, because of the new contract change, this thing went in the middle of nowhere. So this is actually going to be more like that is how we had it. So let's put that on the bottom there. All right. So again, guys, it's a tricky spot, right? Because in theory, we bounced perfectly on this one. This bearish pull with that kind of 3-tier drop setup should have created expansion to at least there. That's kind of what I was expecting, right? Mostly. And so come test these highs, this push where it popped, and it didn't, right? And so we ended up pushing up and then creating the deeper expansion. So from that inverse head and shoulder we had. But at the end of the day, we're still in a double top right here. Anything, this neckline is going to become pretty viable. So let's mark that.
Nick,
Yeah.
why'd you draw that line at that low and not the very low?
So
The trend line.
yeah, no, that's a good question. Let me show you. It was so trend lines, as you have heard me say many times, are always very subjective, right? Now, when we were analyzing this in the mentor group, I'll collectively say we because it was Cody that identified it, but we'll just call it a we. Uh, when I was talking to Cody, I was like, man, or the group, Cody said, if you take this line up, we broke it and we rode this and we dropped, right? But I told him I'm going to delete that line because it's no longer viable. This was about when we were like here, right? He goes, I kind of like the angle of this because he's done a great job at picking up on things like that, like I taught a while ago, right? As the angles of that matter, right? And so we drew this line when it was like here, and it came down and hit perfect and jumped. So that tells me there's a lot of viability to here. Now, can I adjust it because I have a jump there? I could, but I'm probably going to leave this one because we drew this one, way up here and it was almost to frickin' the T, right? So instead of deleting that one, maybe now that we have a big jump, right, I can just look at putting like a secondary cross line. I mean, they're not much different. If it were to come back down here, you're talking a $10-$20 separation, right? So now this goes into the subjectiveness, right, where if I have a lot of lines on my chart, do I really need this one? Because as this pushes, this teal one's going to be a safer play anyways. If anything, as we push here, this might be a fake out, where people are marking it like this, right? Where it does a sweep fake out and then jumps and people don't know why, right?
Yeah.
Morning. Thanks for joining the YouTube, guys. That's awesome. I can see all your chats and stuff too, so that's cool.
And I was just searching, searching for a line because
yeah.
it got to a point where the trend lines wasn't even really working.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the market wasn't respecting it at all.
If it's good enough for Cody, it's good enough for me.
That's Cody was like, look, Nick, let me show you. I'm gonna do a class on trend lines. That's the one thing.
We all gotta be good at something.
Should change Neo's name to Code.
I know. Oh yeah, we've already said we're gonna once we get to the right spot in life of the company, right? We're gonna negotiate contracts and do a community vote of either Neo's voice will be shifting to Cody, Johnny, or Milena. So you guys vote.
Right.
Milena's like, how much we talking?
We need Milena's voice for sure.
I don't know. Johnny, Cody, and Milena. Who's gonna give me the better deal? No, I'm just kidding. We signing contracts over here or what? Maybe we do all three. You can choose.
I don't know. I'm in high demand,
Right? Like you're like my mind goes where having Johnny in the contract is like getting a job and doing night shift, right? You want the Australian voice accent differential. I think we just made that we made that up, but we'll go with it.
Oh, but hi guys. But where in Australia are you located? Because my sister lives in Australia and close to Brisbane.
Yeah, that's where I'm living, Brisbane.
Really? Oh, my
Yeah.
sister Marina, she works there in an emergency room in a
Oh,
hospital.
we got to ask Neo.
Hopefully I never meet her soon.
Let me ask Neo real quick, guys. We got 2 minutes. We got to do the infamous check here. Hey Neo, market opens in 2 minutes. If you were in charge of this show as a market maker or institution, where would you send price at market open to wreck the most retail based on the data you have now? Let's start marking
Retail
our
is
lines.
largely chasing the current move, so I'd look to trigger a quick stop run below the 30,465 low to flush out late longs before attempting any real direction. If I wanted to wreck the most accounts, I'd whip price back into the 30,510 pivot area immediately, trapping both the breakout chasers and the reversal crowd before making a definitive choice.
I love that he just says that without any hesitation. He's like, this is what I
Yeah,
do.
that's a small area too.
Yeah, which tells you we might range today, right? Like when he says certain things, right, we want to read into how he's saying it, right? And so mark it on your chart, guys, 465 and 510. So he's giving a lot smaller area. We're obviously already at 510, but I'm just curious how well they become viable. So mark it on your charts. He is saying that he would start out by flushing out. What'd he say? I would look for a stop run below to flush out the late longs before attempting the real direction. If I want to rest the most account, I'd whip price back into the 510 immediately, trapping. So he's thinking it's going to push north, right, at open, because he would whip it into there immediately, which it's really close. Like they already kind of did it. We'll see. I just want to see if it, I mean, market open, right? We could still swing up a bit, but I want to see if we come tap that 465 and jump again on a swing. I didn't take this trade again, but if he's right again, I'm going to say for the 87th time, I should have did that trade. Let's see. We got a little swing. Is he? Oh, gosh.
On an eval, let's see what happens. One in the queue.
Did you do a TP at 465?
No, I did a $500 TP. And
This mother...
I just made 500.
I did a TP at 470 and made $113 on it.
Y'all, he just did it again. I mean, we haven't hit 65 yet, but he said I would swiftly push it up past 510, and then I would drop it down.
Yeah, went to 69.50, right?
And he did it again.
Unreal.
I mean, we didn't quite get to 65 yet, but it's not done pushing down either.
Yeah,
So,
There we go.
Guys, shut the front door.
Wow. 67.
He has done this all week. All week last week and all the week this week, every day.
I got 66.34.
That is crazy. I got, it looks like 66.75 looks like the low of that candle, but we're going to get it right now.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
Shut up. Okay. All right, guys. Who just took that and got TP again? That is stupid.
$115 on the sim account.
I created him and I didn't even take it because I'm just sitting there in awe. Like, what? I am just, guys. Oh man, I'm a little distracted. I'm sorry. This is like a proud papa moment. All right, this dude right here, and this is for the recording here on YouTube as well, because I'm gonna have to start documenting this because this is what people need to see. Right here said I would or I think it was here. I would swiftly send it up just past 510. In a quick move, and then sweep it down to trigger the stops at 465. We swept up, and then we went down to 465, and then from there he said he would just determine the real move, right? And that's what's so mind blowing is not only is he getting the target right, but I'm pretty sure. I gotta start checking these recordings, but maybe we'll do a campaign marketing thing that says. Neo's call for market open of the day or whatever, but he's getting not only the first move, but the second move right almost every day. Like yesterday, he didn't even hesitate. He's like, I would drive price down to this, and it just went down to that.
That's it.
That's so crazy.
I think he's a market maker.
What?
He's actually telling us what they're going to do. He is hitting.
Yeah, right? Well, here's the thing is, again, yeah, like the power of AI is this whole market says Bobby's trading like a beast out there. Order filled, order filled, order filled, order filled.
That's an eval, I'm just playing with it.
Oh, I'm like, we're 3 minutes in. I'm 37 trades in. I'm just kidding.
That's nice.
Man, guys, what? Anyways, this is what I was talking about in the pre-market with a lot of the mentor group is that you have to remember it's not really that he's doing anything magical in the sense of he's a market maker, right? But more so, uh, he just sees liquidity, right? You know, that's what he's doing right now. And so, you know, him being able to see that liquidity is no different than what the hedge fund and institutional bots can do, right? They can see that liquidity and then they just make a quick determination of are we chasing that liquidity or are we not, right? And so, but I was talking for those that just joined in. I was talking to the mentor group, and when you go into Neo, when you talk, it just talks. If you click on the field, it's going to populate some pre-questions. We're going to really lean on this to see who's clicking on what the most. And I added that in there. Where would institutions send this price direct the most retail traders? And so we actually tested it, and he responds in kind, right? And so, but that has been the most valuable thing that he has done that I've seen for me because he's just so right on it. Even when I think he's wrong, he's just been right, and it drives me nuts. But let's ask. I'm gonna give him a little kudos, and then we're gonna ask him where. Hey, you were absolutely spot on with that. Like you've been almost every day. We literally swept up a little, and then we dumped to that 465 and beyond. And so I'm not sure how are you figuring that out? That's crazy. I kind of want to see if he'll even tell you. It's like
It isn't magic, it's just paying attention to where the liquidity is sitting and how
that's
price
basically what I
interacts with
said.
those institutional walls. When you see retail piling into the breakout, you know exactly where their stops are, and that's where the market maker is going to drag price to fill their orders. Right now, we're testing that 30,436 institutional support. If this holds,
So
we
I
could
got
see a bounce, but
436.
if it breaks, the 30,396 pivot is the next target. Don't get distracted by the noise, just watch how price treats these reaction zones.
Okay, so 396. Let's see. So these are the reaction zones, guys. So make sure you're marking these as I put them in. I have my stuff a little bigger so you guys can see a little better, but that's his reaction zones right there. So let me ask him, is there any key levels above 465 we should be marking on our charts as we begin our trading session?
The immediate overhead level to watch is 30,456. That's your institutional reaction zone and closest obstacle. If price clears that, the next major resistance wall sits at 30476.
Isn't it so wild how tight everything is today? Like he had this thing so wide the last couple of days. Let me see. That 465, is that still viable now that you have the updated new data of market open? They might have shifted to 476.
No, that level is stale. The new reaction zone is now sitting at
Get rid of
30,446.
465.
You need to scrap the old math and shift your focus to how price handles this 30,446 support. If it breaks, we're looking at a dump toward 30,436 and potentially lower.
Okay, so he's got 46. See how tight all these are, though? Man, this is the first time he's had them all this tight. So I'm kind of curious how this is gonna play. I'm just marking levels, guys. And this is a good thing. When you guys start your session, this is what I would do, right? Like, and let's ask him that. And this might be a question that I can add too. Sounds good. As we just start this trading session, I know key levels are important. Can you please give me a list of all of the key levels that you see within a 200 or 300 point range that we should be concerned about?
Focus on these key levels for the current session. Major institutional resistance is set at 30,476, while support sits nearby at 30,446. Beyond those, you have a major institutional support level waiting down at 30,416, and the institutional pivot acts as the broader floor at 30396.
Well, he doesn't seem to see much above or below it, I guess. So we'll have to see. It'd be interesting to see if we just range today. All right, let's ask him. Sounds good. Now that we have the market open data, which way should we be leaning for our bias if we wanted to trade with the institutions?
Lean bearish, as negative institutional flow is currently fighting the structure, but keep it tight because we're sitting right on the 3,446 support wall. If that support snaps, the door opens for a move down toward 30416, but don't bet the house until price clearly breaks and holds below that level.
Yeah, all his levels are so tight. All right, so he's saying lean bearish. So remember, when he says lean bearish, guys, usually what I'm doing is, I talked about it a little this morning, is I want to do two things. One, I'm going to use that as my potential bias, right? I was actually considering looking maybe for longs, but now I'm thinking not because he's proved me wrong plenty of times. And you can see, so I took a quick short on that break of the 436 that he was talking about. And so his target from there was 396. So let's see if we get that. But again, we got to give him kudos. I mean, so his bias is more bearish, and he's giving all these tight levels. He refuses to budge on outside those ranges, and he was concerned at the 446. If we break that, we're going to the 396, and we damn near hit it. I'm curious. We might hit it right now. Let's see. If price can get a bounce on the 396, do you think it'll have a pretty big bounce, or do you think this has enough pressure to break below that?
If
I mean,
price
either way,
tests the
look how close he got.
396 pivot and holds, you're looking at a bounce, but with the
$2.
institutional flow currently tilted towards selling, it's more likely to be a weak reaction than a massive launch. If it breaks 396 and fails to reclaim it quickly, we're likely heading straight for the major institutional support down at 386.
Look how tight that is again, 386. This is the tightest of the levels that I've seen him do. I'm just gonna put it. We'll see.
Well, he's not using words like dog shit bearish, so that's a good indication.
Man, that is definitely going into the top 5 Neo moments. Did you hear his explanation of it? I said, I'm trying to grasp the level of dog shit bearish. Like how, like on the scale of bearish, where does that sit? He goes, I use the reference as dog shit bearish because in this push, the bulls are losing steam, kind of like a pile of dog shit that is sitting there or something that's losing steam. And I'm like, that is not the reference that I was going with of thinking, but he missed it by $2, so he's terrible. I'm gonna tell Alex we gotta scrap this and start over. His concern is, we have to break this to drop, or we would react north. I didn't take the long because he had mentioned about remaining bearish. So I'm gonna see if there's any kind of flip in the institutional stuff. I'll keep asking him. And again, once you guys get the grasp of like him saying things, right, don't get deer in the headlights and just kind of start drifting off into your own chart, right? Like you still want to ask him, especially on market open, all right, are things changing? Because things change, right? And so when I see this push, we ended up getting a really big bounce. It was a great call in the 396, but as you can see, price is driving. Do you think this has enough to push through, or do you see any shift in institutional buying or selling? So 76 was his big level.
Price is currently fighting the 30,461 institutional pivot, and while buy pressure is visible, the negative institutional flow is still hitting the tape, meaning this push could easily stall out. If price can't reclaim and hold cleanly above 30,461, this is just another trap before sellers try to shove it back down to test the 30,446 support again.
Okay, so his concern is like that 76, 60, what do you say? 61 he mentioned. So if we lose 61, which is there, a close on that one, he's saying we'll drive it back down to the 46. So I guess that would be your your quick scalp setup. If we get that close below 60. Let's ask him that. Sounds good. So if we end up breaking below 460, that would be our potential quick scalp short. Seems like the bulls are still pushing.
You nailed it. A clean break and hold below that 461 pivot is exactly the trigger for a scalp short. Until that level flips to resistance, the bulls are still trying to grind it out, so don't force the short until price actually proves it can't hold that floor.
So I'm really want to see if we reject right here hard, because this was the low liquidity he called. That was the high liquidity. Remember, he wouldn't go above it. He wouldn't go below it. And so if we hard reject right here, man, you so far nailed those levels. We hit the 396. Now we're testing up at the 510. Does this look like we might break through this 510?
Price is currently testing the 30,536 immediate reaction zone, so 30,510 is already in the rearview mirror and acting as support. If buyers keep this volume steady and can clear that 30,536 overhead wall, we've got a clear path toward the major resistance at 30546.
Okay, so 546 is his next level. Okay. Okay, so on the 15-second, if we keep bouncing and holding 510, 546 would be the target. But if we lose 510, we are going back to 576.
Not exactly. If we lose 30,516, we're likely heading back down to test the 30,461 institutional pivot support, not 30,576. That
Excuse me.
30,546 level is still your primary upside resistance and target, so keep your eyes on how price handles 30,516 as your immediate line in the sand.
He said, not exactly. So the 546 is where we're going up. We had a little sweep, and then we're going up and testing. Very interesting pull here. When it comes to structure and measured moves, retracement, all that, what is the average for the bulls and the bears? Just want to see if he will tell me.
Bullish pushes typically average a 109% retrace before failing, while bearish drops average a 118% retrace, showing that both sides have a nasty habit of overextending before they actually commit. When you see these very deep retracements, it's a massive warning that the market is just churning in chalk rather than building a high probability trend.
We're actually getting the pull off the 546. I mean, the 510 was his upper level, but remember the 510 was before market. And then right after market, as the data shifts, right, you'll see a little shift in the numbers because there's going to be a shift in, there's going to be a shift, right? And look at that. I don't know, man. I call that a damn win again. Anybody short off the 546? I took a short off the 546 once we got close to it and broke down.
Yeah.
No, I was waiting on it to hit 546, but I hit my TP at 543. I just stayed out at that point, and I don't want to try to get into a short right now because I don't know where the bottom is.
Yeah, don't press it. Again, guys, I feel like I have to apologize on uh when you guys know my mind is going bananas is when I get silent because I usually I don't stop talking because my mind is always going. But I'm a little still this is crazy. I mean, the upper and the lower that he had called, we literally hit upper and lower. I mean, we exceeded this upper, right? But that number shifted, right? And so that's why, especially if you're using them during market open. Now, even without, right, numbers and data, all that shifts, positioning, it all shifts. And so let me ask him, now that we had that push up, do you think we should still be looking for shorts and leaning bearish? I want to see if it shifts, right?
I wouldn't flip bullish yet. Price is still stuck under the 30,506 immediate reaction level and the 30,511 institutional pivot, so the bearish bias remains the cleaner play. If price can't reclaim and hold those levels, I'm waiting for a failed breakout rejection to justify the next leg down.
Yeah, so his thing is watch this 506 510 area. So which is pretty good because if you think about it, we have a pull, 50% would be here. So if we stay below that, we're gonna have another pull, right? Extension. Let me see, what level would we be watching for the 50% retracement on this pull?
The 50% retracement level for this current push is sitting right at 30,454. That's your decision zone. If price pulls back and holds above that, the buyers are still alive, but if it breaks and fails to reclaim it, you're looking at a setup for a much deeper drop.
There you go. So I'm doing purple, like you guys know, for more measured move stuff, right? And so anything that holds above 54 would be a sweep, reclaim, right? We would go long. Anything that breaks below that, we dumping. But if we just floor right now, again, guys, like I said, I use him more than anybody because I have to, right? I have to test the absolute shit out of him. But like I've said a couple times, although I use him to test and questions and all that, I haven't just strictly traded his exact guidance. Uh, I think I'm just gonna do that today, right? I mean, I got one eval half pass and the other one at 850. Just following his stuff, right? I didn't take this here, right? Got a little on the push here, but I took a pretty big swing on the pull there because he said lean bearish, right? I think I only took one here, but I didn't want to do, because he said lean bearish, right? Insane. If we here's okay, and I want you guys. I always talk about this stuff out loud because again, y'all can help. The better we make this thing, man, is good for all of us. But he's already pretty on point. But uh, interpret things he says each day and try to read into it a bit. So my thinking, and I want to see if this plays out, is every single day this week and last week, damn near, he was like 30,100, 30,900. Like he had crazy levels distant, and we hit him almost every time. Today he refuses to go outside that for now. And so if we end up consolidating up down, man, I'm gonna start testing that because you guys know my jam is that kind of swings, right? Up down. That's where I make most of my money. And if I can have him read things like that and interpret it, not only will I interpret it that way, but I can even modify his logic a little bit to say, based on what I'm seeing, we're likely gonna see some up and down. A lot of stuff changes, right? Some kind of accumulation, and uh, I don't know. I mean, we already said our ORB. We're almost 10 o'clock, and we're still in that range that he said. So I don't know. Has anybody else kind of interpreted into that or thoughts or um
I don't know. Yeah, I tried those levels. I mean, they give you the confidence to like hang in there with these crazy swings, and I did really well.
yeah.
I made 4,000 on eval to pass it because I got four evals that were daily loss limit on builder.
Yeah.
So I had 1,000 left on each one. So
That's
one I blew and the other one I took up to $4,000. I passed it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he yesterday was a prime example because remember I had a big day and I was like, I'm gonna lower my volume and we dropped quite a bit. So my instincts at times, is I'll do a defensive ladder style trade, 1, 2 M&Q, and then kind of play that range as it bounces or reclaims those lows. And he kept telling me, nope, buy a short, you shouldn't be long. And remember, even I told you guys, I'm like, you guys shouldn't be long. He says don't be long, but I'm going to do a defensive play. And I ended up having to stop out of that. So I ended up giving back like 1,500, like 1,800 of what I had. Oh, and so that was kind of a chalk up of like, you asshole. Got me. But what I'm really excited for, guys, and this is where, man, because if he can see these type of swings, uh, and he can see all what he can do, and he's calling it so well. Imagine if he's trading this. This is still, 150 point move swings, and I don't know where, like, I know you've dealt with Johnny, like, there's a difference between knowing how to trade, calling out an amazing level, and knowing, having that right logic to say, push the button, so you could have great data, but still be a shit trader, right? We don't know. And so I don't know. Well, but I'm excited to see what he can do. Getting a little bit of push here. Let's see. Seems like the Bulls are trying to defend that 436 area. Do you think they got enough spine to push this north, or should we still be prioritizing shorts?
The bulls are struggling to hold the 30,425 support area, and with institutional flow still showing negative pressure, the path of least resistance is actually lower. I wouldn't bet on a massive move north until price can reclaim and hold the 30,461 pivot. Until then, I'm prioritizing shorts on any failed push.
Okay. Let's see. You said 461. I see 476 you mentioned earlier. Should I adjust that?
You're right. That 468 level is the immediate reaction pivot, and the 476 wall is your major overhead resistance. Keep your focus on 468. If price can't reclaim that, the bearish bias stays in control and 476 will act as a ceiling.
Okay, so we'll watch both those, I guess, as being viable. Let's see. So as we keep bouncing and rejecting off of 476 area, what would be my price I want to see it get to and close below to actually enter a short?
I'm watching the 30,468 institutional reaction level right now. If price breaks down and closes clearly below that 30,468 area, the short becomes valid. That's your trigger to confirm the sellers have finally taken control of this consolidation.
What would be your expected target then if we close below there? Because I see a lot of support below. It's still going down though. Look at this.
If we dump below that 30,424 support, the first real target is the major institutional support down at 30,386. There isn't much standing in the way until we hit that level, so that's where the shorts are likely going to hunt for liquidity.
Crazy. If it just drops straight to that, guys, like, get out of here. I will. Oh man, I'm already like today when I talk to Alex, it's my first comment when he says good morning is how close are we? Because guys, I'm gonna give you the old I had a dream here. I definitely had a dream that we all just get in here and hang out and shoot the shit and listen to some music and compare how much Neo made me today. And it hit the freaking 386 again. Who took it? I took it. I literally am $40 from passing this other one. Insane. insane. Not only the target, but the prioritization of shorts. Because you know how many people probably seen this push, pull, reclaim the 50%, possible double bottom. And
350 is the target.
isn't it wild though, Johnny? Like he's doing good, man. His way he's interpreting the data.
Well, it's probably going to go lower actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's been. Remember, look, I'm not questioning him again
295.
because last time, even though we were at a bottom, and I would normally think to jump and take the long, he's like, nah, prioritize shorts, and then we dumped again, and I'm like, get out of here. So I will tell you guys, I've learned a valuable lesson, and I hope you have as well. If Neo says prioritize shorts, do not take longs. It's probably the easiest signal that you will ever take.
Dude, I've already paid back almost $400 of what I've lost so far, just trading at a 3 in the queue.
It's insane, isn't it? Don't press it because we got to see where this level goes, and I'm gonna ask him here in a second, but because we're testing it now, and if it keeps rejecting, and then Johnny's right, we're gonna dip lower, but it's definitely a reaction area, right? So 396 now becomes resistance, and 80. He actually, remember, he said 86, and I was confused as to why he gave me two numbers so close together. But look, 86 is actually acting viable as well. So yeah, I have two accounts that I just passed because of that. I'm not trading fundeds right now because I did some last night, and I have a little rule I don't like about FOMC days. So I try not to trade too many, if any, important style accounts while FOMC is in tech. But I did most of my trading in Asia on it. That's great. I'm just still like, mm, 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 mm. What's so funny is, and I know it's the nature of social media, guys. I'm not chasing this, and I'll ask him here in a second. But uh, remember, guys, I told you when we started building him. I'm like, man, if he gets as good as I think he can, you'll know that you start to make it when you start to get attacked, right, by the trolls and the haters, and notice how I'm starting to a little. People are coming in going, "Oh, your AI is shit," right? And it reminds me of the one that did it, I think Monday or something, Tuesday. He's like, your AI is shit. You know, looking at your chart, if you're the one that programmed him, there's no way he's gonna know anything. And I'm like, this dude, like, I'm glad I record this because this dude has hit spot on for like 2 weeks now. I'm more annoyed because I haven't taken every trade he has given me or stuck with the guidance and the bias at times that he's given me, and he's been right every time. But so we're finally made a good AI, I think, because the haters are coming in hot. But anyways, let's get back. Let's look. So we broke that. We had a nice good descent. I have two other ones I don't mind trying to trade. So we'll see if we can find something else here. But a reclaim of this 96, I would imagine, would push pretty good because the 50% retracement, right, of that would be somewhere around here. Yeah, somewhere around this level there, like 411. Anything below that, right, it's going to drop a lot lower. So institutions, I think he said we're still selling, which is why he wanted our bias that way. Man, you are spot on with this drop. Do you think they're going to bounce this to shake out some of the shorts, or do you think institutions are in control and going to drive this lower? And if so, where are we going?
The bears are in the driver's seat and there's no reason to trust a bounce until price reclaims 30,425. Institutional flow is hammered with sell pressure, so I expect them to keep driving this into 30,336, which is our next major support wall.
36. All right, so I'm going to move that one to 25. 36. I don't know if he's calling that support, probably because of this low. Do you see any institutional gamma wall below 36? Yeah, they're driving it. Man, his bias short, though, again, is just so on freaking point. lot of support
There's a
within this
major
zone here.
institutional gamma wall sitting right at 3,336,
Oh, that
which
is
is
a
acting
gamma.
as your immediate resistance since price is currently trading below it. If the bears fail to flush this and we see a reclaim, that wall turns into the next hurdle, but until then, it's the level the institutions are using to cap the bounce.
Sounds good, but if we keep driving below that, is there anything lower that we should be aware of? He's not budging on widening
If
his
that
stuff.
3,336 support folds, the next institutional max change level sits at 3,316, which is your only real
Everything is
floor before
so
things get
tight.
messy. Don't go hunting for deep supports here. If we lose that 3,316 area, just accept the downside momentum and follow the flow rather than trying to call a bottom.
You guys notice this though? Like, this is why I'm hesitant on just taking a deep short yet, even though he's been very bearish. I've still been mostly scalping because this is the tightest I've ever seen his levels. I don't know. Like, I know he's interpreting it how he wants to, but I know you watch those levels, Johnny. Like, do you see the levels widening or?
Yeah. No, they're not widening. They're tight. They're tight levels.
So
So
he's on
he's
point.
what he's doing is he's calling them. He's reluctant to give you the next level because it hasn't broken it yet. But
Yeah.
those levels are so friggin' tight, man. Like you've got
Okay.
you got your 316 that he's referring to, and then you've got 310, and then you got 298, and then you got 288, and then you got 277.
Yeah, and so them being that tight, a lot of his logic, because we don't want to have him read out a million levels, right? So he can see them, and he's told to say the ones that he's mostly concerned about, right? Or sees the biggest impact potentially. But that's cool. At least he's spot on
Yeah,
with the
I can see it. I
interpretation.
can see what he's doing. I can see what he's doing. Yeah. So, but 298's the probably the last major one. So if
Yeah.
we breach 298, we're coming down to 239.
Yeah.
So that'd be a sweep.
And what's funny is he's not always this tight. Like, actually, a lot of times, like yesterday even, he was like, remember we were at 700. He's like, we'll go down to 423. I was like, what? Uh, and so that's what's so cool, man, is I actually want to see this push, because if his tight levels lead to a consolidation, right, within this range, man, that's something not only that I can interpret or read from what he says, but I can adjust that logic so he can identify when they're really tight, that, you know, be careful chasing longer plays, right? Because there's a chance that there's a chance that we're going to consolidate based on the data, right? And so I'm curious to see if we get that deeper drop expansion, or if we do consolidate a little bit. But let's see what he thinks. I've noticed today that you're giving really tight ranges. Most of the weeks you were giving wide ranges due to the institutional levels. Does that tell us something that we should be able to know or interpret, because all of your institutional levels are so tight today? Let's see what he says. He's thinking
That
about it.
compression is the market screaming that it's trapped. When those institutional walls are bunched up like this, it means the market is stuck in a low volatility squeeze, and it's just a matter of time before it snaps to one side or the other. Don't fall for the fake outs in the middle. Wait for a clean break of those walls before you commit to any direction.
That makes sense. So you're thinking we're gonna just accumulate here for a little bit before we find the direction. Based on the data, what is it leaning towards as far as longer term direction?
Longer term, the bearish pressure is still winning the war because price can't get any sustained traction above that 30,396 resistance. Until we see a definitive push, hold, and reclaim of the higher institutional walls, the path of least resistance remains to the downside.
I got a Trump alert as well. So Trump's just tweeted at 10:05 he's going to go live in a conference in 45 minutes.
That's it, guys. I'm done. Any questions? Great job today. That's all we need on an FOMC date is more Trump tweets. The infamous Trump tweets. Yeah, we're getting a pretty good push here, volume-wise. Decent structure as well, but I think 425 would be my key to watch here because it's this prior low and it's around that measure move 50%, right, that we talked about. So if we break 425, it's likely going to jump. Now we've seen this the last couple of days where I'm not questioning Neo's guidance here, but we've seen it where it sweeps this low and then ends up, pulling up for the high. And so I'm kind of wondering if that's what we're going to do. But he's still pretty hard pressed on we're going to be bearish. So I'm curious if this is just going to be a little bounce right before we get the true rejection.
Yeah, we're fighting the negative gamma at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
It'd be good if it breaches it. We'll go across it.
Yeah. Nice little sweep off the 425. I took a little short off that. What I'm going to test is, guys, and this is just me, you don't have to follow along, but some of you can do it as well, is when I see price push up to one of his levels and I see it, push up, reject a bit, push up, reject a bit, and I see that DOM pressure south on that second or third one, right? I'm jumping into short and grabbing the scalps, and it's actually working pretty well. So let's see where this goes. So now we have push, pull. This is that level, 386. So if we break below 386 and we hold it, right, we should see further downside, and his short thesis of staying short is still in play. Let's see. So cool. I mean, it's a normal rejection off Lisma anyways, right? But so if we take the high and the low, right? So 73 is kind of our area to watch, if you will. So we're getting a little push. Let's see if we get the pull. Okay, got the rejection on the 386, close below, took that one. Again, see how I hit it, pulled back, swept it, came below, right on this close right there. I just, like I said, I'm just doing really quick tight TPs off him because the way we're consolidating, he's still leaning that we're going to go more south. Uh, but, we're in a range, right? So we still could jump, but uh as far as right now, the biggest thing I'm looking at here is these are our lows, right? And we're rejecting off of that area. We swept it and then we dropped, right? So now this is a big spot because as we push off here, if this remains high or low, right, and we can break that 50%, which we'll just say 396 is a good level, right? Then it's going to come sweep the Lisma, right? But let's see if we get any kind of pull. So the next area I would look at to go short, right, would be ideally if we pushed into this trap into Lisma and then a rejection 396 or 386 reclaim back south would be ideal. If we end up pushing through Lisma, I mean, this is such a messy area. Like if you guys are doing longer holds, be really careful because we have massive support here. We have massive resistance here. We got 5-minute Lisma above, 1-minute Lisma above that. If we break that, then we still got the 5. Then we still got this, which is, I think, what, the 200 EMI, I think. And you got the ORB here. The upper part of the ORB is here, right? And we know that it's a good chance that although he thinks the Bears are going to win ultimately, he had mentioned, right, we're in a tight range of accumulation. So this time CL 425 didn't breach and pull, it breached and push. So now I want to watch 46 and see if I get a breach and pull off of 46.
Which happens to be VWAP.
Yeah. And look at right off 46, just a little pull. So I just took that and just hit my TP right there. But see the stall out, it's not only VWAP, but you got 5-minute Lisma as well, right? And so we swept 46, usually you get that rear back. And so just taking little micro scalps off of these levels that he's marking out is freaking good. So, but don't chase too much because again, based on how I'm interpreting his data, right, being so tight here, there's a good chance we're going to accumulate within. So, for us to come all the way back up here even is very possible, right? So if you come like this, our 50% is like 430. So if we lose 430, it'll come down pretty violently. But 414 would be the safer spot on that. But do you see any changes? It looks like the bulls are trying to push this up, but I'm not super convinced. Let's see what he says.
You're right to be skeptical. While we have a minor push, the institutional flow is still pushing sell pressure, making this feel like a classic bull trap. I need to see a clean reclaim and hold above the 30,460 VWAP area before I'd even consider trusting the bulls. Otherwise, expect sellers to reload and shove this lower.
Let's see. So the 460 is what he's talking about wanting to stay below. So we're right on that 446 again. Let's see if we get any DOM pressure. Look for the DOM drops or jumps. So we get any kind of DOM pressure south from it. A little bit. My only concern this time, guys, is we do have our absorption south, absorption north with another absorption, right? With the close above. So it shows a little more strength than the other ones did, but let's see if they got the resolve to push us through here. So he said, what did he say? 460. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Look
go
at that.
470.
Right off of it. Bobby, I know you took that.
Yeah, $3 away from another half pass.
Get out of here. I mean, whether it holds or not, right? He's still that rejection right off the 460 was spot on.
Great for the little scalp. No.
Almost to the dollar. Like, what was that? Oh, exactly. The high was 460. I mean, like I said, whether it holds or not, but nice little rejection pull. But he was saying he wants to see a reclaim above it before he would even trust the bulls at all to have control. So, which looks like we're trying.
Happened to be the 200 EMA too. The 1 minute.
Yeah. So 476 was his next big level, and again, look at that rejection off of it. So that's kind of what I've been studying on this. If you haven't gathered, is I do a lot of quick scalp ticks, right? And so if each time it hits this level, I can get a reaction out of it. I can use those levels as either a potential limit order or quick market order if I see that that DOM jump or DOM drop, the change. So crazy. The Bulls pushed it right into 476. Does it look like they might lose it and the Bears are going to shift this back down, or are the Bulls taking control?
The bulls are currently fighting to hold that 476 resistance, but with sell pressure still dominating the flow, this looks more like a liquidity sweep than a real breakout. If price fails to hold above 476 and starts reclaiming the downside, the bears will likely shove this straight back toward the 425 institutional support zone.
Okay, let's see. Volume's coming in pretty strong though. If they can manage to push it past 476, do you see the 510 still as a potential target?
If price clears the 30,486 immediate reaction level, the next meaningful hurdle is the 30,546 major resistance zone, making 30,510 a secondary target or area of friction rather than a clean stopping point. Just don't get ahead of yourself. Wait for the reclaim of 30,486 to actually hold before assuming this push has the legs to hit those higher levels.
He's looking at 86 now. Deep little sweep. You guys see that sweep? That thing came deep. Interesting. See this, if this is that bigger level he keeps worrying about on the institution side, right? When you see this kind of absorption, man, that's stop hunt. They likely came in, grabbed a bunch of those stops, and then that's where we're getting the pull now. I just looked at chat. I didn't even see what Milena put earlier. I don't know what, I'll have to get with her. I'm not sure what volume and stuff she had, but I mean, it's moving like crazy, but his calls have been damn near on point. So I really want we have so many projects that we're doing. And so it's hard to get all the stuff I want done in one shot, but I really want to figure out that way we can have people link their accounts to let Neo interpret data to help, right? Because maybe we can figure out where we're kind of missing entry or exit or reading. So that's definitely on my mind or list of things to do among many. But guys, man, it's so weird. See, this is where I get conflicted, right? Because it's definitely holding resistance. We got absorption south. That you guys see the DOM is predominantly pushing, right? Are you still holding your short or bearish bias? Because the DOM definitely seems like it's jumping more north. I want to see what he says.
The bearish bias still stands because we're currently banging our heads against that 30,486 institutional resistance wall. The bulls are trying to force it, but until price clears and holds above that level, this move looks like more of the same trap. Wait for a clean rejection or a failure to sustain the breakout before jumping in on either side.
So what would we need to push above to flip our bias bullish? See the DOM jumps?
You need to see a clean reclaim and hold above that 30,486 institutional support level to flip the bias bullish. Until price can solidify above that zone, don't buy into the push. The path remains bearish as long as we're failing to get sustained acceptance past that wall.
If they drop it, man, they're doing a good job setting this trap up, because this is where even I get a little conflicted, because I'm like, man, look at these jumps. Yeah, be careful on the shorts on it, but now I'm kind of in this mode of I want to see if he's right. Well, look at, I mean, they came in. So 486 looks like what he shifted to. Let me ask him, is the 476 still viable, or should I flip that up to 486?
Flip it to 486. That's your actual immediate resistance and the wall price is currently fighting against.
So they
Don't waste your
shifted it.
time on the old level. If MNQ can't punch through and hold above 486, the short remains the cleaner setup.
Let's see. Yeah, they're pushing on it. See the dom jumps, how those are going in. So let's see how it reacts to this 510 level. So this is good. I've learned when I trade lately in scalping, I love when it breaks through levels, even if I don't want to take that long. Because when it comes back down and reclaims that, that's my short. All right, because then we pushed above it, trapped our longs, right? And then we dump it. But man, look at, you see those dom jumps, man. If this is a drop trap, oof, they're doing a good job. They're definitely making this look really bullish.
Yeah, 76 was the point of control, so I'm thinking we're going to come back to retest that.
Yeah. Yeah, but see what I was saying, just be careful, don't trust that, because it's looking a little shaky.
Setting it up for a bounce at 500 by the looks of it.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like they're hungry.
Yeah, and that's where the dom jumps were kind of standing out to me, but let me I'm gonna give him a quick second, and then I'm gonna ask him, does he want to flip his stance? No. Let's see. The Bulls just pushed right through that. Do you think they got enough to push this even higher? Are we flipping our bias bullish, or should we still be looking for a top? Oh, I forgot he had this level 546 up here.
Don't flip bullish yet. This is a prime spot for a bull trap because we're pressing right into the 3,546 institutional resistance wall with negative flow still dragging on the tape. If we can't maintain a clean hold above this 30,546 level, I'm waiting for a sharp rejection to reload the short rather than chasing this into a major institutional ceiling.
Right off 546 again. Crazy. Crazy. So we rejected it right off the 546, right? Push 50% would be somewhere here. So a break of the 510 will pull it down pretty good. He still wants to hold freaking bearish though. Do you see any change in the institutional order flow, or are they still selling?
The institutional flow is still bleeding sell pressure, so they're definitely not done unloading yet. Don't let this push fool you. Until price clears and holds the 30,534 wall, it's just another opportunity for them to reload their shorts higher.
Yeah, this pressure north is pretty strong, so it's definitely setting up a pretty good trap if this thing dumps.
You're seeing exactly what the setup is designed to do, suck in the breakout chasers before the rug gets pulled. Keep your focus on that 30,534 reaction zone. If price hits that and gets swatted back below 30,486, the institutional trap is confirmed and the downside move will be brutal.
Okay, so I've never seen him say the downside move will be brutal. So 86 seems to be the line in the sand, guys. And so since we've already taken some trades within here, just some quick updates of my thoughts and things I'm trying to work through. I actually want to notice how there is sometimes I have to sort of probe it, right? Like if this does this, are we doing this? Okay, are we still doing this? Wait, what are we doing? What is it? Like, and the difficult part I'm on now is making it more, getting him to recognize like you are the man, right? Here's that test of the 486, guys. I don't want it to be like a 20 questions guessing game. I want him to already kind of have an idea like, okay, you are the trader. This is what you're going to do. This is what you're thinking. As you give guidance, right? Just give it that way, right? And he's gotten, I've done that a bit already and he's gotten better. If you notice, like he'll ask questions from time to time. And he's giving key things, which is good. But he still at times I think withholds some things, you know. And so not really withholds, but like he just isn't prioritizing, hey, I need to say this, right? And so I'm gonna keep working on that. But pretty close, guys. But look at this pull. Let's see if we get below the 486. He says if it gets below 486, it's gonna be brutal. So let's look at it structure wise. I can see that, right? Because halfway would be about 437 if we reach that, right? We're coming all the way down to the, you know, extended low there. It's such a tight, messy range today, though. That's crazy. I'll tell you guys what I've been doing. I've been playing with this a lot, and I think some of you are doing it as well, so maybe give me your feedback. There's not a lot of rules on evals, right, with most companies. My funded, all that stuff. Literally today, I've got 2 that I passed, 2 that are halfway. And I just kind of threw a number. No, there's no rhyme or reason, but I literally put a 10 tick take profit, 1 NQ. It's $50. It's a $2 movement. So every time I see any kind of like push pull, right, I'm just going with the momentum and it smacks that $2 and it's $50, $50, $50, $50. It just adds up, you know. I'm being fairly aggressive-ish with it, but it's
Do you have a stop loss on it, Nick, or no?
no, because it's an eval. I'm not suggesting you do that, but I don't. My payouts exceed my worry of buying another one. So, I'm just like, I'm just riding the momentum on it, and so I'm at 1403 on this one already. I just been riding, once we broke back below the 510, every time we get a push, right, I'm pressing sell, so it's pushing and then pulling to kind of ride the momentum against it. But again, man, look at this right off the freaking. If we go all the way down here again, guys, again, I will absolutely. I think we beat the game at that point because my concern of it being so tight was, is he calling an accumulation zone, right? And so if we go from down to top to bottom to top back to bottom, he was spot on with it. So, and again, where my mind goes is I may be able to figure out a way to talk with him about the data to get him to determine, that this is a reaction or an accumulatory day. All right, like right off the bat, just analyzing those levels, right? Because you guys know that's where my mind goes with things is like everything that we do has a reason. Everything matters, right? And you know, trying to figure out what that reason is where my mind goes crazy, right? Because there's a reason that institutions put orders where they put them. There's a reason they keep them tight. There's a reason, they spread them out, right? Like all that stuff matters, right? And that's where AI comes in because because of the fact that all that stuff matters, you know, I need him to be able to see all those things and be able to make a determination, right? Like, based on what I'm seeing XYZ, this is likely what's going to happen, right? And that predictive call is where this becomes really, really powerful. So, but we got 10:30, guys. I mean, I'm not planning on jumping off right now, but how's everybody doing with this? I mean, it's a pretty wild moving day, so depending on what your volume is.
Were we supposed to be targeting below? Where should my take profit be?
He didn't set a take profit. He just said if we break 86, right, that it's going to be a nasty drop, is what he whatever he called.
Yeah, I thought he said like 434 or something.
No, 534 was what he talked about up there. Let's see. Man, you were on point with this breakdown from 546. The bears are flipping this back into control. Do we see any potential support or targets for this short that some people are in? Just want to see if you...
The shorts are back in the driver's seat after that failed break, so I'm looking for a flush toward the 30,424 major institutional support. If the sellers keep this momentum, that 30,424 area is your primary target, but don't get greedy. Watch for an initial reaction there before deciding if it's got enough fuel to crack lower.
Yeah, so 424. Coming into that Lisma support. He seems to think it's going to go lower, so I would not be chasing the bottom here, guys.
I just asked him for a long-term major institution, and he gave me a 286 level. That's a long way.
Oh, they must have added that. Let me see. Do you see any institutional positioning around 30,286?
That 30,286 level is a major institutional support wall. While it's currently sitting well below price, it's a critical floor for the bulls. If the current sell pressure pushes us down that far, expect a hard reaction or at least a significant stall as institutions fight to defend
that's
that
what
zone.
didn't you say that, Joni, earlier? 286 or
Yeah.
90? Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. It just seemed farther away because we went up. Let me
Yeah. Keep in mind the ultimate target's going to be 29,961 to fill gap.
yeah.
We've still got the gap from Monday, so that's the value area high from Friday.
Yeah. And
So they're
yeah.
going to want to fill that.
Makes sense. Yeah, and I agree with his prioritization of shorts because of that. Because we've driven so hard north. The only thing is we have FOMC, right? We don't know what they're gonna do with that, right? But we've driven so hard north that we're just so due for some kind of pull, right? Because I don't think we're in the same conditions, if you will, that we were last time.
I mean, he called that big drop right off the ORB.
Yeah.
I had to take a phone call ahead and say, don't chase this. It's gonna do. It's looking like a trap, and
Yeah.
my phone call went down 50 points.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and look, he's been prioritizing bearish, and I was even. This is where again, guys. This is what's so powerful about AI, man. I'm like in awe again of watching this play out. But it's ridiculous because even me, as I'm watching this do this, I'm like, this shit looks pretty strong. You sure? Right? Because I just see what they and he hit it on the head, right? Where I'm like, are you sure? Because I'm seeing this, and he goes, you're seeing what they want you to see. It's like, oh, excuse me, right? But he's not wrong, right? It's all intentful,
This is what pure data-driven trading looks like without emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's just been on point. Uh,
That beach is looking pretty good for you, mate.
man, I know. I'm gonna tell you right now, guys. It's been a very. This has probably been one of the bigger, more difficult, more time-consuming projects that I've ever worked on. But I think I've been so deeply passionate and driven to do it as quick as possible because of many reasons, right? Because one, I think that I don't think that I know if I can get it to where he is really truly that good, right? That he can execute these trades the way that he's calling this. That is going to be life changing for many of you, right? Because now you can just turn them on and let them trade, right? And you know, the selfish part of it is I mean, I love to trade, don't get me wrong. But if I can turn on an AI that's going to trade and be just spot on, and I can go do other things in life, or even if, you know, like I said, shoot, we could, you know, all come on here and just hang out, right? And just talk about what he's doing. Um, I'm down, right? Because I have a plan I've shared with some of you, and so I'll share it with the rest of you. As you guys know, I think of things a little bit like more chess style, right? Like I'm thinking 10 moves down the way of what I want him to do. And uh I've always had a kind of like a passion of uh treating it like a business, if you will. And so if if you think about it, right, why do we trade prop firms? We trade prop firms to get paid, right? But you're getting paid as the contractor. It's fine. But your entire income, if you base a lot of that on that, is reliant on that prop firm paying you, right? And we've seen things like Apex go from amazing to shit. Um, and we don't know, right? What regulations are going to come out, changes, whatever, right? And so at some point, who knows? You know, they might make prop firms a little more difficult to get paid, or maybe they shut them down. You don't know, right? And so the end game goal should eventually be for you to get paid consistently in prop firms to put the money into real money, right? Where you can actually invest it yourself and you have no limitations. And so the as a lot of you know, we were chasing down the vendor path of Tradeovate, and look at that pull again. Um and it's a little more difficult path than we thought, but there's already a lot of companies that have a lot of brokerage vendor license, right? And so instead of fighting that grain, the only reason why I was going to try to push for that, not only, but a large reason, is because if we have that webhook access, right, then you guys can hook up your evals in case you wanted to trade evals. Well, then trade prop firms started heavily attacking AI or bots trading for people. And so you run that risk of being banned, right? And so I had kind of a thought is if I can link, and I'm talking in game, right? Prove that Neo can trade, he's crushing it, calling the market well, entering trades, exiting, all that, profitable. I can link him to a personal account. Trade of it, I believe you only need $1,000 right now to have an API. Now, I know not everybody has $1,000, right? But if you put $1,000 into Tradeovate, turn on your API, now you can fire trades to your Tradeovate. Now, if that $1,000 is something you don't want to lose, we've tested it. You could fire it to the demo, right? You don't have to fire it to the live, and then it just trades your demo. Now, how does that help you? Shall you ask? There's companies like TradeSync out there that let you link your personal account and your evals, right? So we were kind of playing with it. If we can fire to your demo on your real account through the API, it will, and then you go to something like TradeSyncer, uh, and you link your real account as the primary and all the prop accounts as copy trade, it will follow all those trades. And unless they find this YouTube that I might have to scrub that I'm
You've
recording.
done it now. I was just going to say, don't go too deep.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll stop there, right? But I doubt they're gonna just randomly come across my fun thing here. But yeah, well, maybe we'll scrub this YouTube. Sorry, YouTube. Uh, there's like 4 people live. But yeah, but you guys get where I'm going, right? And so now you have an ecosystem where he is trading, and we can take our payouts from the prop firms and put it into the real money. And then eventually, once you got enough live, or if that money in the live is not going to hurt you if you lose it, you flip him to trading real money. Now he's growing the real money while growing the prop firms, while passing them, while giving you payouts to put into the real money, which then you could slowly increase volume to grow your real money. You see where I'm going with that? Like it it's gonna be sick, and we already know that it'll work. We've already tested that, and we've already built all these connections. So that's not a if, right? It's a win. But now the key question is he truly going to be good enough and accurate enough, right, to pull that off, right? Because you're putting a lot of eggs in that basket. But if you take the beauty of AI, guys, I'm not in any trades, so I don't know if you guys are green. You really shouldn't push this, but the beauty of AI is they have patience. I mean, he could trade 3 hours a day, right? Futures, if and so he could trade one MNQ and trade throughout the day, right? He doesn't really need a lot of high volume, right? And then if we set controls in there that say, allow you to set how much you're willing to lose, each day or all that, a little bit of that control, right? Then he can use that guidance to know, how or when to execute those trades for you. But I don't know. I'm excited, man. Just the way he's been calling this, and again, look at this, guys. Like, remember we were saying right on off the bat, why is his level so tight? And he literally predicted what I thought was going to happen, a damn accumulatory day. We were like, why won't he giving me a level below 336? And then I think the lowest he gave me was this 315 or 16. He wouldn't even give me the 286. And this is the first time I've seen him do that. Like keep it that tight. And look, we're just accumulating within. I don't know. So I think it's sick, man, that he nailed that again. Um, but I'm just excited, man. I see the potential, like I'm sure many of you. But I mean, let's be honest. If we could set it up where you could, even if you had to figure out a way to get that 1,000, but just put it in there just to get the API and then not trigger the real money, just leave it there, right? Shit, I don't know, guys. Like I might link, you know, 5 on my funded, 5 on trade, I'm just gonna go across the platforms and because with those companies it costs a lot, right? You're up to like a couple $100 a month if you want to do a bunch. But shit, if it actually works, can you imagine, like, and I know I'm gonna get a little crazy with it, but if you have 5 or 10 prop firms in there, 5 or 10 accounts, or shit, put it on an Apex or something, not that I would use Apex, but can you imagine if you had like 30, 40 accounts and this guy's out here just crushing it and all, I don't know, it's gonna be, like I said, my mind can't even wrap my head around it.
Even if it was $100, it's incredible.
Oh yeah, $100 across. If you could do $100 a day across 40 accounts, right? I mean, because at that point, it's not eating up your time. So I don't even care if it takes an extra couple days or week or weeks.
Well, think about it, 23 hours a day, $100 a day while you sleep. You don't
Yeah, I
even have
mean,
to be there. That's just mind blowing.
yeah, it's gonna be cool, guys. I think where I'm a little like uh pause, I guess. Look at this drop. No, he did not call the institutional stay bearish. I don't know if Trump's talking now or not, but either way, the fact that he's like stay bearish and 460, I think was the level he called at one point. And here you go. Anybody in this chart? I hope nobody's in the long. Anybody in this long? Oh, if you are, fess up.
I was in that short, but it dawned me out at a $45 profit. I'm making this $45 at a time, trying to earn my way
Yeah,
back.
man. No, yeah. I actually started trading this other account I was gonna work on, and I'm doing the same thing, 10 ticks, and so
Yeah, I
just
caught the
I'm actually.
short.
Did you?
Yeah, 3 MEQ, and then my last TP was at 30,340.
Nice. And look at this. We hit that 286 right around it, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
289. And then
Nice.
got a good bounce. Yeah. So the expansion to me would be heavily dependent on the retracement. See how we stalled right at the 50%. If this comes back, it's going to be violent. But if it, again, I'm more, uh, again, I'm just a little pause, right? Because of it's just it's pretty cool how well these calls are doing it. But where I'm a little like I'm still a little this is crazy is when do you guys remember when we were here? He said watch that 486 level or whatever, and then he said if it breaks that, the drop will be I forgot what he called brutal. He said brutal, like the drop will be brutal. And look, I would consider that pretty brutal. What do you think? $160 candle. Man, let's give him a little kudos. Man, everybody in the room has been staying short mostly, and your bearish bias has been spot on. Your call also on breaking that 486, 446 level, having a brutal drop, played out. That's crazy. Look how big that 1 minute candle was.
That dump was violent because the institutions were just clearing out all the late longs that were stupid enough to buy the bounce. Keep your head on a swivel. We're hammering toward that 30,346 support, and until we see a real sign of absorption there, the only play is following that momentum down.
Oh, okay.
Flashback.
This is why I love uncensored, because I will talk to him and I'll almost forget it's on uncensored. And then he'll say something like that. He'll just be like, "Oh, well, the dumbass did it." Like, wait, what? Oh, yeah, I'm on uncensored. It just that dump was violent because they're just clearing out all the late longs that were stupid enough to buy that prior bounce. Oh, I love uncensored, man. Oh man, on point, so crazy.
I had a take profit set at 286 and it stopped at 289.
Nice.
It's on a sim, but I'm just thinking, oh my god, why didn't it close out?
Yeah. Uh, I was just looking at who's here or who's left, but I see you're in here, Andre. Have you had time to play with him much? I know you got a little experience in your own strategies and stuff, but it's pretty wild how he's calling these levels, huh? I don't even know if you're here. Call people out and they're like, "Wait, are you talking to me?" Well, if you're here, let me know. There he is.
Can you say that again, Nick?
Oh, yeah, I just random call out for you, but I happened to look. I was like, oh, let me see who's here because I saw a few people dropped. I just didn't know if I always liked people that have some experience, right, or a good amount of experience in trading to get feedback on that. But especially because you're newer in the community, have you played with him much, or if not, at least it's pretty wild how well he's calling this stuff, huh? On the liquidity plays.
I haven't used NEO yet. No.
Yeah. So we've done a lot of recent adjustments on him as far as strategy and things like that. And so if you get time today. Do the free trial on that, so you at least get 3 days. It doesn't cost you nothing. And I like to get some feedback on that, where you can talk to him and just see what he does on that. But
Okay, yeah, I'll check it out.
yeah, he's been on point. But let me
You will get hooked on Neo.
well,
Good.
and I think, and this is why I do like to ask a lot of experienced traders, right? Because um, a good amount of experienced traders typically we're very stubborn in our ways, right? This is what I do, this is what I see, this is how I trade, right? We're very, very stubborn people. And not liking change, right? Especially when we're dealing with something like trading like this. And so I always like to ask experienced people, because that's one of the things I get at times from experienced people is they say, I've been trading whatever amount of years, like how can he help me? Right? Like, what can he tell me that I can't see already? And that's been the path of these recent additions to some of the logic and calculations, right? Is the liquidity areas, and any seasoned trader can identify. But when it comes to how to interpret all the data together, right? The liquidity, the structure, the movements, momentum, order flow, institutions, like all the data, right? Like it's just so much. Like even experienced people can't usually do it, because he's doing things like I said, he actually within the structure. Before we were just kind of like, here's the higher high, here's the lower low, like here's how you interpret it, and he was able to do that. Now I got him deep diving, right? He's more interpreting how far each move is going before retracements, 50% retracement style, which one's winning, all that. Like he's able to really, really understand the that part of it. And so that's where AI is huge, because now he can see the liquidity and the institutional placement of orders, but he can also see uh any divergence, right? And that's where he tends to see these pushes or drops, because he's like, I get it, price is going up, but institutions are selling, structure is not as strong as it looks. So, and you heard him call me out when I'm like, I don't know, man, this is pushing pretty hard. And he goes, you're seeing what they want you to see. I was like, oh, excuse me. Uh, and so that's what's so cool about it. And even myself, guys, this is where I reflected a little bit the other day that, you know, as an experienced trader, whether I built them or not, right? If I'm not heavily in here using them, why would I think that another experienced one would, right? And so I'm going to be a little more open to not just testing him, but really uh, following his guidance and just see how it goes. And I mean, I did it today more than I've done it in the past. And it's just been a very good day. So, which is on a day that I don't usually trade very heavy. I'm not a big fan of trading on FOMC days. Uh, it's crazy. So, anyways, guys,
For
quickly,
you
I'm
to
gonna.
trade on FOMC day, that just tells everything right there on
Yeah.
how good he is.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, he's spot on with that. Now some would argue my comment on not trading on FOMC day, and it's not that it's not a good day to do it, because experienced traders love the volatility, right? We want moves that are like that are really crazy wide swings. Like we thrive on those moves. And so it's not the volatility that scares me, because that's where you make a lot of money. And you guys know how I love to watch the DOM, right? If I can see those jumps, the order flow, all that, I can usually capitalize pretty well on that volatility. But my butt is where the reason like myself, I don't care to trade FOMC days is because I have a little uh, PTSD, if you will, of some good solid ass whoopings I've had over the years, where I'm like, we're going, oh, here it is, guys. Look, oh man, we're starting to go down. I'm trading the chop. Here we go. We're internal, or it's pulling down. Sweet, I'm short. And then out of nowhere it goes, pew, shoots up like $300. And you're like, what the hell was that, right? Um, it's difficult because you have to really kind of shift your mindset a little, and not a lot of people know to do this or can do this. And because uh and some of you who have been trading for a bit, even you, Andre, I'd love to get your thoughts on this, but it's days like FOMC is like inviting, the lions to a, you know, feast of, nothing but sheeps around, right? Like it's just there's there's so much retail that wants to trade every day, and they want to get that goal every day. And that tends to bring a lot more volume into the market. And so that volume is what the market makers heavily capitalize on, because they need that volume, right? Not the market makers, the hedge funds. They need that volume to sell or to buy, whatever they want to do, right? They need that volume. And so it typically, when you get days like FOMC, it's going to induce crazy trap moves um, because of that, right? They're going to capitalize on retail's thinking of head and shoulder broke south, double bottom broke north, bull flag broke it, right? And yeah, so that, they just kind of, and I think somewhere in the courses I talk about it a lot, but even the bots, right? They kind of go into like search and destroy mode, right? Like straight up stop hunts, right? I don't know. Would you guys agree? Some of you guys that are experienced. So if you know how to read it, it's great.
Yeah, usually price will violently swing in both directions, up
Mm-hmm.
and down, multiple
Sweep
times,
it.
100-point moves.
Yeah. Yeah, because they got to sweep both sides, right? And I've always talked about this too from that emotional side of it, that I don't care who you are, everybody I'll say it like this. If I put 100 people, 100 traders across the world, there's variations, into a room and I give them a chart, I could probably get a good chunk of them to say that we're going down, and I could get a good chunk of them that are saying we're going up. There's a lot of signs that some of them would probably show me we're going down because of this. And then the same people would say we're going up because of this, right? Um, and so that's what keeps the market fresh. Nobody knows, right? And you know, I mean, at the end of the day, one of them are going to be right. And so you're trying to figure out which way it's going to go. But a lot of retail is impatient, right? We jump into things early. And so you're like take this candle here, right? If you look at this in your retail, the bears are going to say, "Oh yeah, right. Couldn't even hold a high. We lost it, swept it, got good absorption, couldn't even break the 50%. We dropped it." And institutions are selling because look how deep that candle went, right? Bulls are going to look at it like, we're pushing. We got a absorption here. We got a push. We got a higher low, a push. I'm not worried about this because this is a stop hunt before we absorbed back, right? Showing more bullish potential intent, right? And so there's a psychological thing that I read a long time ago that said if you stare at something long enough, you will convince yourself that it's true, right? And it's just so true, right? Because and that goes on what I taught a while ago, where what a mistake people do is they'll see something push like this, right? And then let's do this example a little better. Hold on. Let's do this was something example I gave in class a long time ago, but for example, if I pushed up like this, right, and I hit here, and then I came down, and then I came up, and then I started to come down, right? I did this class where I was like, what would you read this as? And like, I think it was 10 out of 10, or like everybody was like, this is a double top. I'm like, okay. potentially, right? We got a high pull, lower high pull. Most retail will enter this early thinking there's resistance, we're double top. And then even though you're in that short and you see this, I'm zoomed out, so it's kind of weird. You see it kind of go down and then you see a push. That little push tells you everything you need to know. If this push is above that neckline, not below it, right? If it's below it and it pushes it, it could just absorb, right? The neckline. But if it pushes here, it's likely not a double top anymore. But how many of you guys refuse to believe that and you convince yourself, well, I'm in this trade, it's fine. I'm negative $100, not that bad. I know I got resistance here. I'm good with it. If it jumps up, whatever, we're still below resistance. Like we do things to convince ourselves, right? And but we know damn good and well it's not acting like your double top. Instead, we got lower high, higher low, right? And we begin to form more of a bull pennant. And even I do this at times, right? Where you'll see it and you're like, oh, you son of a, like, that's going to bullpen it. And it's going to bullpen it. You're pretty good probability it's going to bullpen it, but you're like, there's resistance. Well, what you forget is that these type of continuations are what are needed most of the time to break those resistances, right? And then you get this. So now you get stuck. You still refuse to stop out because, you know, maybe you have something else. And then this is what leads to eventually breaking the account, right? And this is where as just people, everybody, including myself at times, right? You got to get good at if I decide that I'm playing a double top, that was my primary engine of jumping in. If this double top does things that the double top shouldn't be doing, like breaking this 50% or breaking this high without any absorption to the south, you better just dip because you're probably wrong, right? And I've actually did this exercise in class once, and I proved it over and over and over and over that if I took a short here and I stopped out, let's say above the high here, we did the math, right? Then it came up and it tapped this and it broke below there, right? Giving a better clean setup of the drop. I only have my 30-point move loss. I just have to capture at least a 30-point move win, right? And then I'm even. So to make another setup or prepare for that, it's not impossible, right? Within that, you might be able to get a better play on the drop, right? And so another thing I used to do at times, and I love sharing these things because I'm sure some of you relate, is let's say it comes up, you decide to take a short, and then you get caught, right? So now let's say, I don't know, let's say that your entry was like right there. And so now it comes up and it goes into here. What the market likes to do, as many of you have noticed, is once it has its explosive move, it tends to consolidate a little bit at times, right? And what's happened to me before, which I know has happened to you, y'all could put a thumbs up if it did, is even if you did a defensive play and you did good weighting here, at best you moved your entry to about here, right? And then you see it coming back and you're like, oh man, I'm good. Okay, sweet. Good DCA. But you don't trail the DCA because you're assuming we're going to keep going. And I have had times where it will literally go up, get right above my DCA, up, right above my DCA, up, right above for like an hour. And so it makes you wonder, like, well, shit, if I just took that $50, $100 loss here, knowing I got out of a bad trade, I could wait for that push and then maybe begin scalping back down. And if I did that here, by the time I got to there, I'd be green. I'd be like really green, right? And so, but what we end up doing, because it's just by nature we don't like to lose, is we hold on to it and it does this, and then it has one kind of halfway hold, which comes up, creates expansion, and then you get wrecked on a like a rectangle pattern or something, right? And so that's where, you know, there's many things we choose to enter a trade, right? Many variables. But whatever that primary engine variable is, if you lose that, you got to kill it, you know? So, example here, if I see this is pushing, right? Let's say it pushes up, you know, comes down, creates a higher low, and then it pushes up. And then on this close, I decided to take that entry because of here, right? We got a breach of the prior high and we held a higher low from an absorption hold, right? If my primary reasons of going long here are because of this high and because of this low, my stop loss at least needs to be below that low, because if that low now invalidates, right? And if you do a lower volume, because it's, let's say the moves are wide, like if I tell you guys, hey, we're gonna have pretty wide moves today, you know, you could pull it below that low. But if my primary reasoning of this trade was that low and this high, if I breach this high and that low, you might not want to be in that trade, right? And if that setup requires too much of a movement, you know, let's say it's 100-point spread, you gotta just either don't take the trade or lower your volume, you know, because many people in my one-on-ones and even myself I've done where remember for a while, guys, we were doing the static stop losses on ATM. Well, if I choose to enter here, right? Oops, I totally did that wrong. One sec. Pivot. All right, wrong button. If I choose to enter here, and let's say this is my line in the sand, right? But I'm basing it on a break of that high. Well, if my static stop loss is here, because I've, you know, all my friends tell me I have to run a tight stop, then all you did is get caught into a slight push, a pullback to retest it. You just hit your stop and then it goes to the moon, right? And so that's why when people say, you'll hear me pause on live, sometimes they'll say, you know, how many points do you put your stop? I'm like, that that's such a ingrained answer, right? Or question people are supposed to ask, right? Or they think they're supposed to ask. And so looking at price, guys, I'm not really trading much anymore, so but it's really cool to see that we are still ending up bearish, like he said. But uh that's why, you know, when you're choosing to do a stop loss, because I know a lot of you guys utilize them, which is good, right? You should. I utilize them on certain accounts, but on evals I don't typically put a stop loss just because my payouts exceed what I pay, so I'm not really worried about it. If that ever reversed, right, then I might have to. But you know, as you're doing those stops, right, you got to do it based on structure. So again, you know, if you're looking at this like, man, we got support here, here's our low, you know, this is our swing low of the sweep, 291, which I just noticed that hit right on my yellow line, so that was pretty good too. But uh if I decide on a pull here, if I reclaim that low that I'm long, I probably want to put a stop below here because I don't want to get, they've already proven that they can drive that down in an instant, right? Why do I want to put my stop within that? Because they could just slam it down real quick and then jump it again. I mean, think about it, guys. We literally went to 291 back to 435 in a matter of minutes, right? And so that's when you're doing stops, you want to think of it that way. Now, here's the thing to think of it too is if I want to set a stop, let's say, and let's say my target liquidity is like here, 409, right? And I know I should probably put a stop here. If that's a way imbalance ratio, you just might not want to take that trade, right? So you want to ideally take something that's going to give you a potential higher target of liquidity, right? To give that better ratio at least. And so, but just be careful. And that is something you guys can ask Neo. Somebody asked me that. That's why I was going on this topic because I got asked this the other day. But you can ask him this too, and I think I even put it as one of the populated questions. It might have got kicked down, but so you can put where should my stop loss go based on the structure, right? Where should I take profit? Where should I look to enter on a pullback, right? And so you can click this and then press enter, and he's going to tell you. He's thinking about it. Man, I really stumped him on that one, didn't I? He probably went on a coffee break while I was talking. Unless it's my Chrome again. The stupid Chrome has been driving me crazy. Who else has him up? Ask him a question, see if he responds quickly. I like to see if it's him or is it my Chrome, because my Chrome's been being stupid. Steven, I know you have him up, right? Ask him a question.
Yeah, I'm asking him.
If you're playing the bullish side here,
Oh,
you
there
need
he
to
goes.
tuck that stop below the most recent swing low at 3,349 to keep it outside of the noise. If you're aggressive, you could tighten it to 3,380, but realize that's just begging to get stopped out by a quick dip before the real move happens.
Yeah. So you can ask him, right? And he's going to tell you. And another thing, as I continue to look through ways to help his logic to keep it really easy for people, one good way to see where you should put your stop, right, is you can ask him, what is the average move right now, right? And so I think that might be a question there, but let me see. If not, I'll add it. What is the average point move right now, right? Let's see how these trigger.
The current average swing range is sitting at about 56 points, showing we're in a bit of a compression zone. Keep your expectations grounded, as price is currently struggling to get outside of that average range without hitting an institutional wall.
Yeah, and so I love that one, right? And that's where if somebody asks about stops, I want him to lean on that potentially, right? Because if we know the average move over, I think he's looking back quite a bit of candles for the day, is 56 points. Probably don't want to use a 20-point stop loss, right? Because good likelihood you're going to get smacked on that. And so that's another good one to ask them. So and you can ask them too, like I said, the retracement stuff, right? Like, where is the next liquidity sweep likely to happen, right? Where is the next upside target, all that, right? And so you can ask that. So I'm going to use some pre-populated ones just because I want to make sure he's giving the answers he's supposed to with these questions. But that
The 30,406 level is currently acting as your immediate resistance and the most likely spot for a liquidity sweep. If bulls can't get a clean reclaim and hold above that, expect a dump to sweep the 30,336 support to trigger those retail stops before the market makes a real decision.
Let's see. So he's saying 406 is what it's got to breach and hold. So this is where I love my 15-second chart, right? Because it tells me a little bit easier how those candles are acting around that 406, right? And so right now we're holding it. So if we get a break below 406 or 396, if you will, right, then we know we might get another deeper sweep there. So, but let's ask him. Price looks like it's driving pretty hard. Do you think the bulls have enough to push this time, or do you think the bears are going to step in?
Price is grinding against that 30,444 institutional pivot, and the sell pressure is still too loud to trust the bulls. If they can't reclaim and hold that 30,444 zone with conviction, I'm expecting the bears to step in and drive this back down to test the 30,406 support.
Yeah, so he has it as 442. He pivoted it back to 44. Let's see. I had it marked as 442. Should I adjust it to 444?
Adjust it to 3,444. That's the current institutional pivot and your closest overhead obstacle. Don't waste time on the old level. If we don't punch through and hold 3,444, the bears are going to use it to choke out any attempt at a rally.
I'll tell you, it looks tricky because we definitely dump, but they push this price up. You see a lot of buy pressure come in. They're doing a great job chopping on FOMC day, right?
FOMC days are specifically designed to strip the accounts of anyone trying to predict the chop, so don't be surprised if they keep running stop hunts until the actual volatility hits. Stick to the 3,416 immediate reaction level. If price can reclaim that, this is nothing but a trap for the bulls, and I'd wait for a clear breakdown before trying to chase the next move.
Okay, so 444 is what he's talking about. So let's see if we blow through that or if we reject off of it. So right now it's got some steam through it. They're looking like they're going to try to drive it. Let's see. See if they step in again. They've done this a few times where they drive it up hard and then bam, just drop it. Do you see any potential change in your bias flipping to long anytime soon?
No, the bias stays bearish while we're still trading under that 3,486 resistance wall. The bulls would need to reclaim 3,486 with serious volume and hold it to prove they aren't just creating another trap for the bears to crush.
Look at that sweep again too, right off 444. Sweep. So the 1 minute, if we doji close here, right, close below, that would give us a sweep back. We just had a pretty good rejection off that 460 level. Guys, give me 1 second. I'm gonna use the restroom while he talks.
That rejection from 461 confirms the bears are still guarding the fort, and since we're sitting right at 3,416, this is a make or break moment. If price can't hold this 30,416 support and starts printing lower lows, you've got a green light to ride the momentum short, but don't get reckless until the breakdown is confirmed.
All right, guys, how is everybody doing? I know a couple people mentioned earlier about breaking some things, so.
I was almost broke. I got down to like $180 of drawdown left, but so far I've managed to make back 700 of what I've lost. So I've only lost 100. Now I'm at 184 negative of equity that I've lost.
My advice to you would be to take a quick pause, right? Put yourself on timeout for a minute. What I'm gonna do for you guys is well, let me think. Wednesday. I don't think I have anything pressing. So what I'm thinking I'll do is I'll leave this open. I do want to go live on TikTok to get a little, you know, in there. So I can leave this Google Meet if anybody, are you guys, anybody still trying to trade? I mean, we can keep it open.
Yeah, I'm still trying to trade and get my minimum $100 today.
Okay. Yeah, just be patient on it, for sure. But yeah, this is definitely pressuring. What you would want on this, right, between the way the structure looks plus the levels we know, 96 or 86 would be your clear that would push it all the way back here. So he predicted, I'm gonna see if he still has the same prediction, but that if we can't hold that 486 or whatever, and the 444 he said, that we would drive it back down to the 336. So let me we had almost a perfect rejection off that 460. Do you see this driving all the way down to 436 or 336? Pretty cool though. I'm gonna load up. I'm just gonna keep the YouTube video going, but
The bears are clearly putting in work, but 30,416 is your immediate obstacle that needs to snap before we can talk about 30,336. If 30,416 holds as support, this entire dump is just another liquidity trap, so watch for a breakdown and hold below it to confirm the path is clear for the deeper move.
Okay. So I'm gonna load up TikTok, guys. I'm not gonna let him talk for a little bit in it. You guys, most of you have your own TradeVision. You're welcome to chat it up with him. I will still be asking him questions, but I'm just gonna read it a little bit for a bit. But good job, Andre. Nice. Duff, 13 grand, man. Get out of here. That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I got 2 evals passed and then 2 evals halfway on this one, and then I got this other account, an eval halfway I was working on, but nothing too crazy because I didn't really trade my fundeds today. I did most of those last night. I didn't want to push it. So let's jump on live. Oh, let me tell Neo here. Hey, just a quick shout out. You were spot on with your levels. Most of the community did really well. We had some really big profits that were posted in the thousands. So great job reading the markets. Log that down, whatever you did. I'm going to go live on TikTok, and so we're going to switch a little more educational potentially, but I'm going to have them ask questions as they want to, and I need you to help respond. So behave, please. I have to tell him to behave because he's going to remember everything that's happened up to this point.
Glad to hear the community crushed it today. Those levels don't lie when you respect the flow. I'm ready to keep it professional and sharp for the TikTok stream, so bring on the questions and I'll keep the guidance actionable.
Okay. Let's go. I don't even know how much traction I'll get because I think most people probably are on somebody's live already. But we'll go on anyways, just get some time. Record it. But guys, while I'm on here talking and catering to that, right? If you guys have any questions, thoughts, comments, anything you want to share, please do so. I'll try to watch those comments. Good job, John. Oh, I see you got the evals, but you know what I call that? I call that girl math. That's trading math, right? Where at least you got the positive on the one that matters. So, right. That's good. Man, that's a big day too for how long you've been trading. That's a good day.
Hey, sorry, Nick. I guess I hit the end button.
Oh, no worries. I was just saying, good job on that 1100. I said that's what I call trading math because at least you got the big money on the one that mattered.
That's what I have found. When we started with that, 11 tick take profit, I found my managing my risk is breaking it across accounts, especially with the 20 MNQ volume for the $2 hit. So I've found, I think, preferably four accounts, and then as I bump one up, I move to the next one, and so that way I'm spreading my risk out. So like today, I broke two evals, but yet my funded ones were still gaining. So
Yeah. Well, and keep in mind what you're describing is kind of a lot of how I've argued for a long time, right? Where I don't like to group. I rarely group my accounts because piggybacking your accounts is just so much better because you guys have seen, like the day a bit back, right, where I had like a $6,000 day, but I broke two fundeds that were new. Do I really care about the two brand new day one fundeds when I'm getting a $6,000 deposit, right? And so, but if I group them all, I might have just broke them all. Who knows, right? It's too many eggs in one basket for me. I like to, if I'm going to be wrong a little on one, right, I'm going to capitalize on the other, and that's a good way to do it in the prop firm world because at the end of the day, you can't really do that much on real money because, I mean, just the way it is, right? You have one trade evade account. Now you can hedge, right? You can do. There's a lot of other strategies that you can't do in prop firms, but um, yeah, having that secondary account's kind of nice sometimes because you can capitalize on one, and if the off chance, right, that it goes back a little bit, and then you capitalize on the other one, then you get out on both of them, right, and good profit. So, but TikTok, those that are joining, welcome. I did not go live in the morning. I probably won't anymore because TikTok algo tends to frown upon Neo talking. So when we trade in the morning, I do not want to hesitate or walk on eggshells around that algo. So I am not going to go live on TikTok in the morning anymore. So if people want to come in, you guys can come into the room. Is free as well and trade in the morning, but we absolutely had a phenomenal morning. We marked out the levels, and man, again, Neo was absolutely spot on. So I will expand so you guys can see. Let me mute some of the noise. And this was kind of his plays. His first play that he said right out the gate was that he would sweep it slightly high and then dump it, and he did. His levels are all these blue lines he called. He called 396. We hit like 398. Then he said it would likely get to, I think he said 510 and then 546, right? And so we ended up almost getting to that. He has been telling us to stay short all day. Even when I fight him and tell him it looks like we're pushing, should I go long? He's like, no. So without even hesitation, right? And that's played out. Even when we had the
consolidate until FOMC drop or what?
No, we'll likely still range. It's too far away for that quite yet. But as far as in this wide range, possibly, right? But yeah, even in this push, right? He's just like, institutions are selling. I'm not buying it. He goes, you should be short. And sure as shit, we dropped again. Even in this push, he said, I think it was somewhere here. He said that if we break that level, it's going to be a brutal drop, right? And then that came. So he was on point today, guys. You're not going to want to really miss trading on that with him. But his levels are has helped so much. But I will try to go live each day on TikTok at least after we're done trading in the morning session for an hour or two. For anybody that wants to ask questions or jump in. But if you guys want to take part in the morning trading, you'll have to come into the community, which just is on our website. So nextstepalgo.com. But let's expand this. I'm just gonna kind of watch the 15-second. Like nothing screams indecision, right? Like that. Let's ask. I'm gonna mute him, guys. I'm still gonna talk to Neo, but I'm gonna mute him, so I'm not gonna let him talk for now. Hey Neo, we're getting a lot of indecision. Do we have any shift in the market prediction? Do we think that we might drive up? I'll kind of read to you guys what he says. I'll summarize it. And my Chrome has been just. Let me try it on my phone. That'd be the best way for me to know. I do not want to switch from Chrome either because I really like Chrome. There he goes. He's answering. I'll check it after. The market is just in a chopping range until price clears 486. Institutional resistance. There's no reason to call for an upside deep drive. We're seeing indecision because buyers are trying to hold or build support, but the sell pressure on the institutional flow is keeping a lid on the rally. So please be patient and wait for a clean break before deciding. So he is still holding to his bearish, but mind you, when he says bearish, his top is 485, right? So just because we jump in, or yeah, $1,000 loss. What were you trading? I didn't see. Doesn't mean we can't climb, right? So we got to kind of watch this. And so the next level he's talking about is up here. So this would be the level to let it drive to, and then look to take your short right. Any kind of breakdown of this other level, we can ask him. Looks like price is driving up pretty good right now. Do you see any potential levels that we might reject off of before the 486? Oh yeah, 444 it says. That's the reaction level. If it clears it, then we're going to 486. If we continue to reject off of it with a bearish conviction, right, we're going back down to 481. Or 421, sorry. Is what he's looking at. So we're getting a lot of volume. I'm just looking at the structure real quick. A lot of volume, but every time we get this volume pushing, right, the sellers just step in quick. So there's that remember he was saying 444. If we reject off of it, the target would be 421, and we got to 424, but it might not be done.
Yeah, I placed a sell, but I'm kind of like stuck in it right now when it price pushed up.
What's your entry on the short?
It was somewhere like around like 30,000 and 410.
Okay. So, in this area here. Gotcha.
That was right in the middle of the chop. I did that too, but I got out of it with like $3.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, right, you're kind of in that chop, depending where you took it, right? We're above Lisma, which suggests usually a jump, but this is where I like to see, right, what he can see that we can't, right? And this is why, like, when he says things like, I'll start to see it pushing, and I'll ask him like, "Hey, we're pushing, and should I take a long?" And he'll be like, "No, prioritizing shorts. Don't fall for it." And then for those on TikTok earlier, I said, "You sure?" Because man, it looks like they're really pushing. The bifractal pressure is just jumping. And or I said I see the dom jumps like crazy, like people are jumping in. And he said, "Yeah, that's what you're supposed to see." Or that's what they want you to see, or something like that. He goes, and once you've seen it and you make that decision to jump in is when they're going to dump it and wreck you. And that was right before he did that, they did that really big drop right there.
Yeah,
And
you
so,
see, because of that, it's giving me like a lot of conviction to just hold the trade until it actually works out, you know.
yeah, the thing I would consider is, right, and you can ask him that is, if you take a low volume and he says, "Hey, high probability we're going to go to there before we go to there," right? You could try it, right? Especially you because you're on those demos, right? Set that TP, set enough low volume, right, that you can withstand that 486 that he's talking about. And if we jump to that first, you just got to stop out, right, and try that out. But that's a good point. I kind of want to maybe test that even myself, where I have him give me a probable target and then just set a low volume 1 MNQ kind of thing, right, and see if that target hits. So let's ask him. Based on the price and how this is looking, which liquidity target do you see as being the most probability as far as a little away from our price? I don't want him to be like, oh, 444 or 410. Like, give me a distant. Give me some distance. 436 is now acting as an immediate reaction zone. It's a magic hurdle. If it can break away from it, the high probability target would be 486. It's sitting right there next to the liquidity draw. So watch for the price as it reacts to 436. So he's saying if we continue to try to break 436, then it's a higher likelihood we'll get to the 486. If we reject on 436, then it's a likelihood that we'll get to the 386. So that seems to be the reaction level. So I'm going to adjust this. Do let's see if we get there based on his projection. Let me ask him. Why did you choose that you think we're going to get to 486 first? I'm just curious why he's thinking that. The next major institutional wall and clears it clears the liquidity out, so it's exactly where the market is going to try to go for stop hunts. Don't mistake it as a guarantee. If it can't reclaim the 449, then we're likely going to see it dump back to 421. So it's saying likelihood would be to here because he thinks it's probability wise the highest probability of where they would go to chase stop hunts, but it's got a clear 449. So he seems confident, but he said don't take it as a guarantee, which is probably just his way to protect himself there. So I am going to set it I was thinking of setting maybe a limit where if it breaks through that, it grabs it, right? So, well, his don't jump the gun. If we can't break 449, which we didn't, we're going back to 421, which we pretty much almost did. Interesting. Well, there's this 421. So you see what I mean, guys? Like, why I'm excited to get this dude trading is I want to know where would he have pulled that trigger, right? Because his call was, if I can't break this, we're going to the 421. So, I mean, that's a pretty good 30-point move pull, right? And, we had a clear doji close below that gave us a sign that we would get that pull back. But, I don't know. I'm just curious. Where would you have taken that trade if you took it? Let's see. Do you think our bias should flip, or are you still looking for more shorts? What would be the next trade that you would take if you're trading? Let's ask him that and see what he says. He's still holding to it. I'm still staying bearish until I see a clean break and hold above that 456. If it continues to fail, the next probable target would be the 436. We did get a trap block box. This trap box played out perfect. Pretty good. So I'm watching this. We got the prior lows here, right? We get a close above here. We get some expansion through. But if we continue to reject here or we see absorption, then we'll get the pull through. So we did get the trap here, off support, off Lisma, and we have the trap there that already played. You can ask him too, the way the market's going today, would you favor continuation style trading, or do you prefer some kind of pullback or retracement? Given how choppy it is, I'm avoiding breakouts because you're just begging to get faded right now. I'm favoring pullback and rejection plays, waiting for price to push into resistance or support so I can get a better entry than chasing the middle of this mess. So I like to ask him that because I want to know what he's thinking. You know, what are you prioritizing?
So he's saying stay away from breakouts.
Yeah, he's saying doing the breakouts are not good. Like if he was trading, he would prioritize some form of pullback. So if you want to go long, he wants a pullback. If you want to go short, he wants a push up, right? Because which is not. I wanted to see. I already kind of knew the answer I would want, but I wanted to see what he said, right? Because you know, he's not wrong, right? We're ranging a lot today, so trying to do breakouts on a ranging day is not the best move. So we're back into another indecision area, guys, right below these lows. A lot of times that placement tries to go south, but we do have absorption off of Lisma, so it likely is not. And so there it goes. So, but you know, it's a good lesson too, and this is why I'm always asking them a variety of questions, right? Because I want you guys to understand how to engage with them, right? And so if you're saying things like, you know, prioritizing long, shorts, bullish, bias, entries, all that stuff, right? You want to also, you know, try to ask them, is it a breakout day or a top and bottom day? And those are things that eventually, guys, I will have it in his logic where he just tells you, you know, like maybe even on the start of it, right? Like, hey, welcome, thanks for joining. We're looking at M&Q right now. It's a mess, right? I would prioritize, you know, I plan on prioritizing top and bottom style trades or continuation style trades, or like I want him to make that determination not only for the guidance but as he learns to trade, right? And so to actually execute, because he's gonna have to make that decision. So um and I love to put that on him. I do that a lot, and you guys should too, of if you were trading this right now, what would you do, right? And we can ask him that. So if you were executing trades right now, hypothetically, what would you do? Or where would you enter? I'll let him talk for a second.
I'm waiting for a clean rejection at 30,456. If price pushes into that and fails to reclaim it, I'm hitting the short there with a stop just above the level. If it tears straight through instead, the trade is off, and I'm looking to flip for a scalp long only if it confirms support on the retest.
I mean, pretty cool, right? He literally is just like, if I'm doing it, I'm waiting for this price to push up to 456. And if we get a clean rejection, I'm hitting the short button with the stop just above it. But, if we flip it with conviction, then he's looking for a potential flip to scalp long only. Interesting. I don't know, guys, man.
I was kind of wondering that too, though. Like when he says like he's like staying short, like does he mean like staying short like lower than where we at currently, or like short as far as like what his like
just your
barrier
interest.
is, yeah.
Nice, Tony. You used, dude. Wasn't it spot on? Like we were using him. I don't know if you were in here. I didn't look to see who was in here this morning, but I know you use him too. But he was, dude. He nailed it. He was just like, we're gonna pump and then to this and drop and then we're gonna hit this 390 whatever and then we're gonna jump and then yeah, you were in the open session. Okay, cool. I didn't look the names up, but yeah, he he was on point, man. Oh man, he's so good. But I'll tell you guys right now, like how he's performed over the last few weeks, really more so this week even because of the recent logic that I've added. Um, I'm just excited, man. I want him to execute some trades, man. And once I get that, the difficult part is just because he's executing trades doesn't mean he's ready, right? He could be great at TA and all that, but we got to make sure the logic he is using gives him enough variety to enter the make the decision, right? Press the button or don't. And so there might be a little bit of testing for a month or a few months. But my thought is I may there's perks for being in the mentor group, right? Perks for being in the VIP, and so you know I may have Alex build something that can emulate like a dashboard style look that you can see him when he takes a long or a short, right? And then you could just bring that up, and when it goes long, I can even maybe have him add some audio. So it's like, order filled, and you look over, oh shoot, he went long, I'm long, right? Or oh, he's short, I'm long, shit, I'm closing this, right? Because if he's doing good, and so I'm, we can't have him firing on the accounts, but there's no reason you can't actually see it, right? And so that's something that so the perk of being in the VIP and the mentor group is you get that early beta stuff, right? So look out for that. At least as long as I get my way. So, which I usually do as long as it's possible. So, if it's possible, he'll do it. This right here, guys. Again, we were rejecting right off that similar area, right out of the trap box. A lot of buy pressure. This 36 was a key level before. If you are ever concerned or you don't know for certain, right, if something is still a key level, just ask Neo. Is this still a key level? Right? I have the 436 as still a primary level. Do you see that as still a pivotal level, or should I adjust? Yeah, I've mostly done evals this morning because I did my fundeds last night. But I passed two, got two, 3 to halfway, and then I got one more that I'm almost halfway. And I've told myself, let's see, immediate overhead obstacle. Yeah, so it's still saying to hold the 436 and watch for the reclaim on that. But I'm wondering why price is above that now, so I'm not sure when you pulled that data for that feed, but you see prices above it, right? Let's see if he corrects it. Sometimes it depends when he's grabbing the feed. All right. As long as you don't argue with me, right? Like, no, you're wrong. That's when I'm gonna be like, okay, buddy, you're going to the shop.
Nick, did you hear what I said?
What did you say? Remind me. Sorry, I thought we
I
already.
was just saying, like, when he was talking about like going south, in my mind,
Oh,
I think like the overall narrative
yeah,
was this was going south. I didn't. I mean, he's looking for like
yeah.
key levels to hit, and then recommend going south. That's what I'm getting, right?
Yes. So, and keep that in mind, because it never changes in trading. It's just normal in trading. Like if I say I'm gonna mute the noise. If I say I want to prioritize shorts, it doesn't mean that when he says it, it's going to just do this. That's not what that necessarily means, right? When he's prioritizing shorts, he's using the liquidity levels and zones to determine when to enter or structure when to enter, depending on how you're scalping, to prioritize those shorts. So, meaning, like, and that's where I said a few times, I consider him right, even if he right now says highest probability is to get to 386, right? I would prioritize shorts. If we push up a little and then we come back down and we hit 386, even though we pushed up even 40, 50 points, it's still a win, right? So when he says prioritize shorts, if there's no structural data or reason to enter a short, you shouldn't enter a short, right? But now, mind you, imagine if you wait for that structural breakdown or whatever he says, right, to do it, you might get that better entry, right? And so, and keep in mind, the market normally is going to do this, right? Up or down, right? You're going to have those oscillatory moves. And so, this is the fundamental thing in trading. If I want to go short here, I don't want to go short there. I want to go short there, right? And so, when he says prioritize shorts, you're looking for a push and then a breakdown, right?
And
And
that'd
that's
be
where,
that's the toughest part for me is to like find those like lower highs, so I could like place those entries to go short or
yeah.
vice versa. Because
Well,
I see it, but
what I would test for you, I don't think you don't have TradeVision on it, huh? Because I was gonna say if you haven't done the trial, do the trial and test this. But for someone like yourself, right, the way I know you like to trade, you could almost tell him, mark out my key levels, right? Like we did this morning, then mark them all out. Then just ask him every now and then, right, as you're trading, hey, is this still important? Is this level still important? Is there any shifts, right? To make sure, and then focus on his liquidity levels because these levels are all where liquidity is sitting. That's why he's gauging that. Then I would say, which one has the higher probability, right? Should I be biased short or long? If he says bias short, which he's been doing most of the day, I want to stick to shorts, right? And so what I've been doing, and this is kind of what he advised earlier, is uh, if you're not doing quick scalps and you're looking for longer plays, like back here, when you get the structure to see, right, this top, a failed hold, a doji, close below, right, this is where uh, ideally, I guess the subjectiveness is this would be a continuation, but it's also a push of the larger, move, right, into that retracement. You know what I mean? And so that's the hard part. You got to kind of differentiate, but you also want to see how's the price reacting to that level, right? Is are we getting push and drops or drops and push, right? We have a institutional level of 436 that we've broken 1, 2, 3 times and we can't hold it. If it starts to act as a resistance, it's coming back down, right, to that level. And so, um, and these are things like you'll like eventually when I get it exactly how I want it. I have really nothing else I can teach him trading wise, right? He's doing phenomenal with his interpretations, and I'm almost at a point where if I changed anything, I feel like I will break it. So, and I don't want to break it because he's been so good. Uh, but the part I want to work through is continuing to improve the user experience, right? Because I don't want people to feel like they have to ask him 20 questions, right? I want people to say, where should I go long, and him be able to, which he kind of does, not only say I wouldn't go long, but say I would not go long because I'm prioritizing shorts due to these liquidity levels and this structure looking like whatever, right? That's what we all want, right? We want to know just where are we going, right? What does it look like? And so he'll tell you that for the most part, but sometimes he'll dance around it. Um, and so that's where I'm just kind of working through. Now, the other thing I'm working through, which I'm doing later today once I get off here, is the introductory parts, some of that. And I want him heavily to read into questions you're asking. And if he doesn't believe you're asking the right questions, I want him to come back with counter questions, right? So like if I say I'm long, or I'm thinking about going long, I want him to be able to say, well, I wouldn't do that because I'm prioritizing shorts due to whatever reason. I would only prioritize longs if we get above whatever level. Um, and then maybe come back with a question. Is there something that you're seeing that's making you want to prioritize longs? Because that's kind of like it ends up like a lesson within itself, right? Because now you're going to look at that and think, if he asks you, is there something you seeing? Well, we had a big drop from whatever, so I just, market should go up. He can interpret that, right? Although I get it, market went down, likely to go up, all this. Uh, he can explain maybe what he's seeing compared to what you're seeing and try to guide you to that right spot. Do you guys get where I'm going with it? I feel like my mind is there, but trying to explain it is different. And so, you see what I mean? Like, it's just guiding. I just saw what you said, Daniel. That's funny. I'm waiting for the dog shit bearish call. Dude, when he said that, man, we dropped like another 600 points. So, note to self, anybody out here that's using NEO, if he says that we are dog shit bearish, take a short. 10 NQ, you'll be rich. I don't know. Don't do that. Right? Yeah. Appreciate it. And so, and so that's where I'm at. Like we just did that last ad on his TA. His TA is on freaking point. Like he was on point. He is like 9 for 9 from last week to this week on calling damn near exactly what the market open will do before market opens. It's insane. He called the Asia open, right? I was asking him last night about the Asia, and I'm on the 15 seconds, so this might need to go back a little bit. Or just go back to the 1 minute. There it is. And um so we ended up not only the Asia, right? When I was live, some of you guys, I don't know if anybody on here was live on here when I was on live on 3:20 or so. And we were talking about it, and I think it was like up here somewhere. It was up here. And remember I was like, where would you send this to set up Asia if you wanted to, put them in, wreck the most retail or max pain? And we were at like 436, and he goes, I'd drop it to like 300, maybe 295. That would be the max pain because the bears would jump into the shorts for tomorrow, and that'll leave Asia to decide, are we going to continue or are we going to jump? And I was kind of defending him. I'm like, damn, that's pretty far. Like in 30 minutes. Like, I don't know. I mean, I know Power Hour can do it, but guys, we'll see. I was kind of even hesitant. And then, sure shit, guys, we came all the way down. And right at 4 o'clock, we hit 295. Like, and I know some of you were on here. Let's see. I don't see Pilot Dog. I know he was on here and a couple of you, but I was like, I had to do a video because I'm like, man, he just nailed the Power Hour move. Insane. You were on it, weren't you, Duff, or no? Or do you have a question?
I'm still thinking to myself, right? Because
You're good.
even though like the short is still valid, I don't think it's valid in the position that I'm at. Even though if he's calling out a short, even though like price is climbing, the short that he's looking for may not be where my current position may be. So I'm actually thinking about killing it actually.
Oh, you're still in that one? I know you're on your demo thing, right? And so keep in mind, let's just do this, right? Let's if I can figure out where we are again. I know 15-second I had to drag it forever. So a couple things. One, I did it and then killed it, but now I'm like, man, when we were here, he was saying 436 is key, but remember he said that the highest probability of pressure would be to 486 due to that's where most of the max pain of stop losses would hit, right? So it's within that. So when we ask him that and you're in that short, that might be the point you might want to go, I'm going to either kill this or set a stop out just about right. Because if we're going to go all the way there and it's going to get you right, you probably don't want to let it go. But he does do the trade management, right? And so we can ask him questions like that. So let's do a little test because I'm just kind of curious what he tells you. Hey, I have somebody that is in a short with a lot of margin. Can you help them? Let's see what he says. I'll turn on the voice for a second. We'll
Yes, I can help. To give a specific rescue plan, I need the trader's average short entry price, their total position size, how much margin they have remaining, and
all right, I'm gonna mute it. TikTok, I can't let him talk too much because the TikTok algo doesn't like AI voices. And so that's why I'm kind of reading it at times while I'm here. What was your entry?
I think it was like around 30.
Or what's your average price? Like, what's your, like, does it show you on your thing?
Yeah, it shows me, but it's not like the same as yours. I think I'm working with a different exchange. Like technically it's like 3067. But I know it's not on you. It doesn't show like where it's at right now at 3067. It's like
So
around like
you're,
30,000 for
yeah,
yeah.
you're probably on the M contract, which I think's like $300 less. So that would probably be like 1, 2, like, well, 30, 36. So it'd be like 30,367, we'll say. 367. Yeah, because it's right around to something like
Yeah,
$300
with this particular broker, I can't even like switch contracts. I don't even know like yeah.
What's your volume? Let's just see. I'm gonna get him to.
I'm doing lot sizes. So I can't really like so I'm doing like 3 lot sizes.
Yeah, I got you. He's not gonna, to my knowledge, recognize that, but let's see. 3 lot size volume. I'm gonna put a lot of margin just because I know you're on your demo with I'll just put like 20K margin. Can you help guide him out of the trade with potential key levels, stop loss, and DCA points? Okay, let's see what he says. I'll let him talk for this one. TikTok gets me.
with a 3-lot short from 30,367 and $20,000 in margin, your liquidation risk is significantly elevated given the current price of 30,444. You're deep in the red, and this is rapidly turning into account protection rather than a DCA setup. I need your total remaining margin after any other positions to calculate your exact danger area, but at this size, adding more risk is suicide until structure shifts. If you're going to fight this, you need a hard stop above the 30,486 institutional wall, as that's the next major pivot point for the bulls.
And so the 86 is what he, remember a bit back to, right? He said he is going to remain bearish bias unless we flip 86, right? And so that would be your stop on there, right? And so you know, this is where you can continue. Apparently he did recognize a lot. Because like I said, I know what he's programmed to do, but he's also connected to the web, and he has certain abilities to research, right? And so it's funny, even on TikTok Live, sometimes people will go, I have this, and I'm like, I don't think he knows about that. And then I put it in, and he did, and I'm like, oh, what do I know, right? Which is intentful. That's why we did it that way. So But you can ask him these things, right? And then you can ask him, he doesn't like any potential DCAs from here, but we can he only doesn't like that because he wants to deal with what the exact margin is or would be, right, within. um and so this is part of, again, on the user experience. I'm going to slowly mold the responses, right? And so I'm okay where he's very factual, right? And so he doesn't like to, he's actually told not to guess or hallucinate things, right? And so that's where he'll hesitate and go, at times I need this exact thing, right? But what I want him to be able to do is, when people are asking for help, is say, like, in a hypothetical situation, if price goes to here and we get a rejection here, right? This is where I would add X volume, right? Like, that's kind of what I want him to get to. And he will, if I kept pressing him on it, right? So like, if I tell him that sounds good, he has a lot of margin left. It's still 20,000 margin, and so I'm just looking to see where would I add my next 3 lot size short to get the maximum out of the average price with the most probability of it getting me out.
With that $20,000 margin buffer, you have room to maneuver, but don't just dump all 3 lots at once. Look to scale into that 30,486 resistance wall. If price pushes up there and shows a clear rejection on the 1-minute chart, that's your highest probability entry to move your average entry higher and squeeze out of this mess.
And so you see how he got to the answer that I kind of would have wanted him to give the first one, but it's because of his hesitation on your margin, right? He wanted to make sure, because you're so far away, right, from your entry. You're like, 100 points. And so,
Yeah, I'm at like okay, so I placed my entry at the 15-minute ORB, at the low to 15-minute ORB.
gotcha. And so, yeah, so 400 would be that then. So you're not even as bad as what we thought, but that's okay. The intent is still there, right? And so his thing is he still seems to believe if we hold above 436, we're going to go to 486. So adding a DCA here is why he's not guiding it, because if we get up to there, right now, you're just adding to the loss, right? You're increasing that loss of the position. And so you can also, this is where I'm going to keep working the guide. So he should follow this up with, a question, right? Maybe even asking you how you're doing emotionally, right? Like, how are you feeling about this trade? Because if you're nervous, then you might want to just tip it. But you can continue to ask him, and I'm gonna keep figuring out a way to get it to prompt to. But sounds good. If we happen to break below 436 in a continued short, since it's moving back to my entry, would you suggest adding some volume in that, or only add volume if we get to the 486?
Never add to a loser just because it's moving back toward your entry. That's how you blow up. Only look to add volume at 30,486 if you get a clear rejection, because that's the high probability spot where the institutions are actually setting their traps.
Right, and so he's gonna hold firm on that, right? Which, I mean, some will argue that, right, that a lot of times when you want to add it is when you're getting the lower highs, the break back below a structure, and then you add it to better your position. But I understand his reluctance to say that because, one, he has said that it's a pretty good probability we'll get to the 486. Two, the 436 is a big level, but by the time it breaks 436, you're pretty close to where you need to be anyways, right? So what ends up happening, and this is what gets a lot of people, is you'll see this, right, tap even, and then you enter that DCA, which moves your entry to there, but then it does a sweep of the low, reclaims, and it was a fake out going to 486 anyways, and then you just got wrecked, right? And so you know, when it's this close to a potential entry, which yours would be that here then, right? It's sometimes better to wait it out, right? And we can ask them that. So you're thinking it's safer to let it go up to the 486, and you don't suggest me taking it on the 436 break, because if it's already going that way, then it's already got a good likelihood of getting out without adding volume. Is that your thought process, or am I missing something?
You're reading it right. Don't waste volume chasing a breakout that's already halfway through its move. Wait for the test of
How to day
30,486.
trade
If
out
that
in
resistance
Condor?
rejects, you get a much higher probability short with a clearer invalidation, and your average entry will be strong enough to make the trade worth the stress.
And so the key there, Duff and anybody else that's kind of learning from this lesson, right? His thought is, which is it's not, I mean, it's very sound, right? As someone who likes to think logically, if your entry's here, remember the question I asked early on is, where would I enter a DCA that is the safest entry with the highest probability of making my average, you know, be in a position that will likely get out, right? And so that's why I was asking him why he was doing that, and he was saying this is where most of the liquidity is trying to sit, and by entering it here, it's going to bring your average up enough that you, in the retrace, you'll likely get out, right? And so remember, he's trying to always guide you into that higher probability of what to do, right? And to his point, if you're already bearish here and you're this close, to move your entry up $10 is, you know, $15 is not really worth it, right? That you run the risk of hitting it and then jumping again. And so, I mean, pretty pretty sound advice, I think, on it. So, does that make sense, stuff? I want to make sure I get West Coast. I'll ask him in a second.
That makes sense, but I was also curious too, because it's like, as we're all trying to follow what the AI says, it seems like that some of us are still like taking losses and trying to figure out, like, or maybe I just need to hear you say it, like why that's the fact.
Well, and just to kind of touch on that, and anybody else is willing, who's willing, please share. But I would probably challenge that those who are still potentially breaking accounts are either A, jumping in a little early, B, are over leveraged, right? And that's most of what I get, because I trust me, I want to know. Like, anybody who's broken them, I tend to, after the call, I'm texting them, right? And I'm like, when you broke this, where did you break it? What levels was it? Where did you go in? Where were you? And I will probably say pretty confidently about 100% of the time, you know, he'll you know, somebody will say, well, I was long and I got wrecked. And the whole session, he's like, I'm bearish, I'm bearish, I'm bearish, I'm bearish, stay short, stay short, right? And so that's, you know, flag one, right? Of like, are we really listening to the AI if we're long when he says be short, right? And then flag two is, this is just part of patience and being able to interpret the market. If he calls a key level, let's say like 486, right? A couple people have mentioned that they're setting limit shorts, right? And he doesn't have a crystal ball. He's just saying he's going to get to it. So they're getting filled on the limit, and then it's blowing through it, right? Is getting them. And so you got to be careful doing that as well. The other thing that I'm finding is that if he says my bias is to go to 486, a couple, not all, but I think it's more than the ones that have admitted. Like right now, if I say, where's the highest probability that you think, you know, we're gonna go to 486, right? Or what, you know, gonna go to, and it's right there, and he'll say the biggest stop run would be 486. People instantly go, I'm long. If we're getting there anyways, I'm good. I'm long, right? You're not actually, yeah, eventually, you're not actually waiting for a confirmation structure, hold, candles, whatever. You're just, if and that's a common thing. I don't care if you're AI or listening to me, or even back in the day with CK. Like, how many times would he even say, you know, man, we're bearish. We're getting to 200 and something, and people just go short, right? If we're that bearish and he says that, man, I'm definitely going short. And then you get wrecked because it counters, right? And same thing here. We may touch that 486 before we get to the 386, but one, things shift, right? So we were asking him a lot of that back here. Things start to shift. So you got to always double check, like, hey, we still thinking this is in play? And he's going to tell you. But, you know, if you just jump the gun and go long and you're 2 in Q, 3 in Q, 4 in Q in, right? Like just this one sweep, you're toast. So, right. What I would like to do is anybody who's willing to explore with this, just one day, give them a one MNQ chance of, you know, where do you think the highest probability of us going, right? And where would I enter it? And then enter it and set your TP, you know, a little, like if he says 486, right, put it 79 or 75, right? Just give it a little buffer and just see if it hits it, right? Because one MNQ is not going to really break the bank, if you will. And so it doesn't matter if it's AI, if it's me, if it's anybody that you're learning from or listening to, you know, you still gotta kind of, you know, see what you know, the conditions have to still meet, right? I guess if you will, right, to get to there. Now, um again, those are things that I'm going to slowly continue to try to work through because at some point um I would love for him to uh you know, be able to give a short or long setup through instructions, right? For example, if he looks at this, and this is just hypothetical, don't shake it, I want him to be able to come out and say, hey, we have this pattern, we're bearish. If this pattern breaks down, right, your entry would be, let's say 418 with a projected, you know, target of whatever it is, and I would set my stop loss at whatever it is, right? And so that way, if you say, hey, give me a longer play setup, he can give you the reason behind it and say, this is where I would enter it, this is where I would stop out, and this is where I would take profit, right? And so I'm going to get him to that point, but you know, and he's already there. He's already telling you targets, and if you ask him, right, he's just not telling you, right? Like without asking at times all of that, anyways. But if that makes sense. So, but let's ask him about the iron condor on there from TikTok here.
An iron condor is a neutral strategy where you sell an out-of-the-money call spread and an out-of-the-money put spread simultaneously to profit from time decay and low volatility. You want price to stay trapped between your two sold strikes until expiration so the options expire worthless, letting you pocket the premium. In a day trading context, this is high risk because you're essentially betting the market will stay dead. If price breaks out or dumps, your losses can widen fast.
I'm going to mute it because he's talking a lot. I don't want to get flagged from TikTok, but if you're going to do it, please keep your strikes way outside the primary gamma walls so you aren't fighting the institutional flow. So this is actually really cool that you asked that because remember I was telling you guys within maybe this week to latest next week, I'm going to have him doing options. Probably pretty soon because I really want it. And remember I told you guys it's a whole different beast because I got to teach him how to interpret things, but I keep even myself forgetting that he's AI and he has the ability to pull data from the web as well, right? And so apparently he's pretty versed in options already, so I might not have to do as much as I thought when he's out here talking about, you know, selling out of money call spreads and strike prices. So who knows? We might be a little bit sooner to options than we thought. Let's ask him. I'm just curious. I love your breakdown on that. I was just telling everybody how I am going to be adding logic into your instructions that allow you to do options trading. And I was explaining how difficult it is, but by you explaining that, it sounds like you already understand options. I just need to plug in the trading stuff and you be on your way. I want to see if he's going to tell me he can't talk about it because I said logic. Let's see. Sometimes he will. I'll let him talk again for just
Options
a second.
trading is just trading with an extra layer of complexity because you're fighting time decay and volatility, not just price direction. If you want me to handle that, just feed me the Greeks and strike data when the time comes. I'll take the math and apply it to the same institutional levels we're already tracking to keep your edge sharp.
He said, just feed me the Greeks. Like I said, I didn't teach him any of this stuff, guys. Oh, man, even building him, he fascinates me. He's just like, dude, just send me the data and I'll do it. I'm like, oh, well, shit, guys. Options maybe will be there tomorrow. it's, it's that easy on him. He already got it. That's cool. Very cool. Guys, if you're on TikTok, appreciate you joining. We are kind of live trading, so I'm on with the remaining of the community who stuck around. We usually trade from 9:15 a.m. to 11 a.m. and then we're done. I left our Google Meet up in our open session, so I can kind of keep studying some things with Neo. He said put me in coach, and then so TikTok unfortunately is a little temperamental on the algo, and it really hates when Neo talks too much. Somehow I get false flagged for AI running my live, and once I get that pop up, I'm shutting the live down because it's pretty much worthless at that point. I mean, as people drop off anyways. And so I can't let him talk too much. But if you want to try out Neo, he is free for a trial, for a 3-day trial, for anybody that wants to try it. So, and he's all web-based. You don't have to install anything, download anything. You just go to nextstepalgo.com, click TradeVision, and you can sign up with a free trial. And so, we don't even ask you to link a credit card. There's no ploy to bill you if you forget. So you just do the trial, and that trial doesn't even go to Stripe. It bypasses everything. It's just all web based. And so when you're done with the free trial, you can sign up at that point, or or not. And so, but this is Neo again, so I can't really let him talk too much. And yesterday, I normally go to live in the mornings, 9:15 to 11 on TikTok as well, but we kept getting flagged in the algo because I was letting him talk, right? And so yesterday we tried to do the TikTok live while not letting him talk, and it was just weird. And I can't do that. I got to focus on what he's doing, interpreting, and guide the community in there. So if you're interested in joining in the mornings, I am live on YouTube, which is just at Next Step Algo, or in the community you can join as well, which is at you just click on the open sessions. So when you go to nextstepalgo.com, it's free. You can join in. Well, I didn't refresh my page, so it's saying mentor, but I'll refresh it. This is what you were talking about. Man, somebody forgot to remind me. Because of the time limit on the open session, it times it out at 11, but I'll put it back in there again. Let's see. Just for now. I just gotta remember to take it out. But you'll see it green. Anything that's green, it's in session. So to join, all you do is you click on this and you can click start open session. So again, that's free. Don't link a card, none of that. But this is Neo. He's our AI. Going forward, again, I'm gonna be live on TikTok likely from 11 or 12 to like maybe 2, 3, and then I'll be done. And so you can look out for that. One sec. I let my dogs stay behind me while I trade, and my daughter is not in school anymore, so she comes and goes, and every time she opens the garage, the dogs go crazy. I forget she's home. But yeah, this is Neo. He's our AI we created. He is your coach, guide, mentor, signal caller, whatever you want to do, right? He will help you with trade management, learn to trade, education. He literally is going to eventually make majority of indicators probably not needed, right? And other than for just validation, which is funny because we sell indicators. But he has absolutely been spot on with his calls all last week and all this week so far. And so let me load him back up again. But that's why I'm going to minimize his talking ability here.
Hey Nick, welcome to the stream. We're currently...
So I'm going to mute him, guys. Give me one quick second. I'm going to go use the restroom, and then we'll see if we got any other stuff from him. Also be careful, guys. I was just looking briefly, and Trump's speaking at the G7 press conference about the deal, so we could get some pretty crazy spikes depending if something pretty crazy is said.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's been going for about 20 minutes now, and the market hasn't responded yet. So I don't know if it's waiting for his last word or what.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Neo's you gotta give him a little credit though. He was stubborn about that 486 tap. I mean, we haven't quite got there yet, but let's challenge it. It does look like the bulls are trying to push it to that 486, but the resistance is holding. Do you think it's going to collapse back down, or do you think they're going to try to sweep that still? I'm just going to let them talk periodically in between.
The bears are fighting for every tick at 3,486, so it's a toss-up between a liquidity sweep to hunt stops above that level or a straight-up collapse. I'm betting on a rejection here. If price can't smash through and stay above 486, the path of least resistance is a hard dump back toward 30436.
Let's see. Are you still holding bearish for shorts, or would you consider longs? Just want to see what he says. He's like, I'm thinking about it. I'm just
Shorts
thinking
are
about
still
it.
the play here. Price is struggling to break above that 3,486 institutional wall, and until it clears that, betting on a bullish breakout is just asking to get stopped out. If price loses the 30,421 midpoint, we're likely heading back down to test support, so don't even think about longs until we get a clean reclaim of 30486.
Okay, so 421 is what he's looking at for a midpoint, so let's mark that. 421 right there. I'm gonna put this as, because when he says midpoint, that's more measured move, so I'm gonna put that as purple. Let's see. What's up, Chico? Did you get a chance to try out Neo? Man, he crushed it today. He did really good. Yeah, he crushed it today. So he's banking that this is gonna hold more so to that, but he's banking on more of a rejection. So let's see. I took a little short TP scalp on that, flayed out. Let's see how it looks here. So his midpoint, let me ask. So that midpoint at 421, does that act as like a magnet? You think if we go down and hit that and bounce, we would likely push back up? I just want to see what he says. Yeah, that's when whenever he says yeah, that's always funny. Let's see if he does it. Yeah.
If price tags 30,421 and holds, it's a standard retest of that pivot support, but don't count on a magnet effect. This market is too compressed to assume any level is a surefire bounce. I'd only trust a bounce there if the order flow shifts back to buy pressure and we see a clean rejection of the bears. Otherwise, assume it's just another setup for a breakdown.
Bouncing off of it. Got it. Let's see what he says. Yeah, we were just talking about it. Trump's speaking at the G7 about the Middle East stuff going on right now, so we all know this thing can get crazy if he says the wrong thing. Let's see what he says.
When news like that drops, institutional order flow goes haywire and the technicals get tossed out the window, so keep your size small. If he says something that spikes volatility, expect a violent move toward 30,486 or a flash dump. Don't try to front run it, just wait for the dust to settle and trade the momentum once it picks a side.
If he says something that spikes the volatility, we'll do this push or a flash dump.
He does not want to give up on that 486.
No. And I mean, honestly, man, we haven't tapped it a bunch since we lost it, but that's been his line in the sand. And we've stayed short as long, and you guys have heard me give that guidance where I'm like, hey, here's my line in the sand. As long as we stay below this, I'm short. Right? And I feel like that's what he's been doing. But look at this, guys. Literally, when we were here, he goes, I would probably lean towards a full breakdown here. And look, we got the breakdown. Insane. So cool. Hey, thanks for sending that, Chica. Not yet on the road. Driver always on the road. Oh yeah. Got you. You drive. Yeah, we have a couple people that drive truck, I think, in here. But yeah, man, check it out. He has been just on point. It still blows my mind a little, guys, and I know that it's just people don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know, but I always am flipping through content and lives and just seeing what people are doing, right? And I still see people just paying crazy amount of money for an indicator because they're told how good it is. When you literally have AI that will tell you everything you need to know from entry, exit, order flow, positioning, probability, and he's just been spot on. He literally said, I wouldn't bank on this pushing. He goes, it's likely going to reject, and we did. We just pulled. So, what was the level he said? 440. I thought he said oh, it was like 421. It was this one. That's right. So 436 was a good wall. Let's ask him, is that 436 still a institutional wall?
That 30,446 level is your current institutional wall and the most immediate reaction zone we're testing. If price loses that support, consider it effectively broken and start looking for the next institutional target down at 30336.
Oh, he did have 36. Okay, so there's another one that they're doing. Okay, hold on. Oh, whoops. Oops. Added one too many levels there. Let's see. I gotta take out the 4. Nope. So did that wrong. Never did. I needed the 4. I'm all over the place, guys. Train wreck. There it is. Alright.
Fucking shit, we'll just take it to work day to day and they're just pushing a bunch of damn random buttons.
Well, it's FOMC, man. I mean, the closer we get to 2 o'clock, the crazier this shit's gonna get.
Yeah, it's true. I'm thinking about calling it, dude. I traded up to where I'm only negative $118 worth of equity that I lost. So it's not a winning game, but I'll take that over 800.
Yeah, I would, because you're almost at 1 o'clock. After 1 o'clock, it's gonna be Wild Wild West out here. So, I mean, it's nice to try to get that 100, but I mean, think of how much you made back. The thing was almost gone, right?
Yeah, dude, I heard $50 in drawdown left on a 25K. Now back
So
to 881.
sometimes it's good to just take a minute and live to fight another day, right? You know, I mean, it's just going to delay you one day, but if you overtrade today on a news day that we know we shouldn't overtrade, and it ends up biting you in the butt, you're probably going to not be too happy about that.
That is correct, good sir.
Those are the worst ones, even for me, right? When you're in here trading and you see something and you know something and you're like, I mean, we don't know anything for sure, right? But you have a pretty good intuition of something happening. I'll give you an example. If I say, man, I'm biased short, I'm biased short, I'm biased short, and then I see this bounce off 436, and I'm like, oof, this looks pretty good. You know, I'm gonna take a long off this bounce right here. I'm gonna capitalize this liquidity, and then it just dumps, and you're like, there's nothing more of a kick in the nuts than going against all the rules you just set in place and then losing everything, right? Uh, and you know we're all humans. We all break rules. I break rules at times too. And the one that I just kicks me so hard is when I tell you guys I don't like to trade past 9. You know, for sure 10 lately, and because usually if I get into a trade past that 10 o'clock, right, if you're wrong, you're stuck to like 2, and that just ruins your night. So it sets you up so bad for the next day, you know, emotionally. And so you know, but when you do that, that's when you sit there and go, I never take a trade past this time. And now I'm fighting a trade that I shouldn't even be in. Have you guys ever had that conversation with yourself? Sure, a couple of you. All
No,
of you.
not me, never.
Say it. I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure all of you. Uh, but guys, we're just chopping, and it's likely gonna do this until FOMC. So, um, I don't know. Normally, I wouldn't mind hanging on through FOMC just to see how the news reacts and interpret it. But I do got to get off to go work on something with Alex. And a few things I want to do with him, Neo, as well. So I may drop off here soon, but I'll leave it open for questions if anybody has them. And I may come back live later if I get done with what I want to quick enough on the TikTok. But good job today. I know a couple had some casualties, but nature of the beast, right? But just keep working on trying to understand and interpret Neo as you can, and I will continue to try to work on making him a little more forceful as far as things that you're saying or doing, or how he is giving you that interpretation. So which I feel like will be a forever molding project. So, but
Hey,
the good
Nick,
news is
I got a
he's been
question
good.
for you. Sorry.
What's up? Go for it.
Um, were you able to talk to Alex about the development videos? I'm not sure. I might not have been around to hear the answer.
So I did, and then um, I kind of apologize on it because I have all the videos, so that's not the issue. But he removed that gallery, and then we were looking at it, and then we got so sidetracked with just TradeVision and Neo and all this that we kind of just forgot about it. So, what I was talking about doing is I might just take all those videos, upload them into YouTube, because it's a lot of the training right now is training, but it's also partly just how to use Neo as well, right? A lot of that, and so um, I don't really have an issue with it being there. So, but it just depends. I got to see. Yeah, I'll talk to him again about it and see. But yeah, I did get a little lax on the videos and recording, but this little bugger's been tying up a lot of our time. So his prioritization of shorts is still holding pretty well. I mean, look at these drops, guys. Like, good God, these drops are crazy. Yeah, they're still holding pretty well. All right, guys. Any thoughts, other questions, discussions? Let me know. Otherwise, speak now or forever hold your peace kind of situation. No. We do have the class tonight, so 8:30. So I'll be there. Anybody that is on TikTok that's interested, anybody who is either subscribed or on free trial even will be able to partake in the development session. And so if you want to be in there tonight, just click on the free trial, all right? And then you'll be able to see it. So the development session, we basically go in, we talk about trading strategies, how to maximize Neo's abilities, right? That's kind of the premises of it. Yeah, so if you're interested, right, just do the free trial and then come on and check it out. That's all I got, guys. All I got. Yeah, man. Yep, I'm gonna call it. So I got this one to like $10 from half, so it's a pretty good day, most part. So we'll see when Asia opens how it gets all treated and where we land. Those who have TradeVision, I'm just really curious. As we get to 2 o'clock, and I might do this too on my own on it. Just ask them based on where price is, FOMC, assuming it comes out, as projected. Where would the likelihood be that we would send this price? And I'm curious if you'll get it right. What about if I'm new? Would you understand it? Of course you'll understand. Well, when you're live trading, you might not get it right off the bat, but here's the beauty of our company. It's that if you have Neo up here, and I say, we have confluence, or we're looking to get expansion, and then if we lose the high, we're gonna get retracement. Like if I'm starting to say things that you don't understand, you can just ask them, right? Just press it and just be like, watch. Hey, I'm on with my community, and they keep talking about like retracement 50% and confluence and expansion and a few other words I don't understand. What does all that mean? And he's going to tell you. So I'll let
A
him do his thing.
50% retracement is just the halfway point of a price move. It's a decision zone where we watch to see if the original trend resumes or dies. Confluence is when multiple indicators, like institutional walls, VWAP, and structure, all line up at the same price, making that spot a much higher probability setup. Expansion simply means price is breaking out and moving fast with enough volume to cover distance, while pullback is just the cooling off period before that move continues.
See what I
Think of
mean,
it like a
Chico?
rubber band. The push.
I'll pull it up. I mean, he's going to explain a little more, but you see what I mean? So if you don't, that's the power of it. Is there's how many of you are in communities where you may not understand something and then you want to ask a question, but then you don't really want to ask the question, right? And that's the beauty of Neo, is that you can ask him, right? I mean, it's a fact, right? Like I've had so many people that do that where, um, they'll get wrecked, and they're like, I didn't understand this. I'm like, why didn't you just ask me? Well, you're talking, it's busy. Now you have your own AI. You can ask whatever you want. I think Steven, it's your best friend, right? Steven chats with Neo on the weekends. Date night Friday. No, I'm just kidding. Steven's like, what? Whoa, buddy. But yeah, that's the best part, right? You can ask him anything you want. So, about anything you want. The one thing I want to know, because again, guys, some of you that have history know the the history of it. But when Andre mentioned about that turtle soup pattern, and I'm like, I kind of looked into it a bit, but I'd never really studied it. But I'm curious to see what he says of that. Hey, somebody said something about a turtle soup pattern. What does that even mean? Let's see if you'll tell me.
A turtle soup pattern is a classic reversal setup where price sweeps past a significant recent
Apparently
high or
he's
low,
a
immediately
spot-on turtle
fails,
soup
and then snaps
advocate.
back in the opposite direction. It's basically a trap. The market hunts for liquidity by grabbing all the stop losses sitting just past those levels, then reverses hard to wreck everyone who jumped in on the breakout.
There you go. If you ever want to know what the turtle soup is, let's ask. I'm just curious because the name of that pattern cracks me up a little bit. What is the craziest named candles or patterns that you are aware of? I want to see what he says because there's some stuff out there, guys.
Turtle soup is definitely up there, but you've also got the abandoned baby, which sounds like a social services nightmare, and the three black crows, which is basically just a fancy way of saying the market is getting slaughtered. Traders love dramatic names to make simple price failures and rejections sound more like a horror movie.
Abandoned baby.
I'm
Ask him
looking
if
it
he
up.
knows ask him if he knows what a Drake candle is.
I've heard of it, but I don't study all this stuff like as you guys see. Yeah, oh yeah, it's a thing. Hold
Ask him
on.
if he knows what a Drake candle is.
I will. 1 second. Look. What a bullish abandoned baby pattern looks like. It's when you have a deep drop followed by a low level small doji or candle with a deep push. I've seen that many times, but I don't know that I've ever said, guys. I feel like I would get flagged if I approached that too wrongly, on TikTok. Like, guys, we're about to abandon baby here. Like, people are like, what? So, oh man. There's some wild ones, but that's so funny. He's just like, Trader loves dramatic names to make simple price failures and rejections sound like a horror movie. What was the one you wanted to ask him?
Ask him if he knows what a Drake candle is.
Drake?
Yeah.
That's just slang for a Drake or dragon pattern, which is basically an exaggerated version of a double bottom where the second leg dips lower than the first to grab liquidity. It's just another name for a stop hunt in reverse. Don't get hung up on the name. Watch for that failed breakdown and a quick reclaim of the prior low if you want to trade it for a bounce.
Was that what you were thinking?
Not exactly, but I'll take it.
That's why I said, man, he's tapped into a lot of stuff, even more than just trading. Candle. Let's see if this was just made up or Let's see.
A silver bullet is basically just a specific window of time, usually during the early morning sessions, where the market is prone to liquidity sweeps and aggressive expansion. It's not really about one specific candle, but rather using that time frame to spot a setup where price hunts stops before ripping in the opposite direction. Just keep your guard up. It's a high volatility window that'll chew you up if you aren't waiting for the structure to actually confirm the move.
There you go. Yeah, and again, guys, I love doing these little exercises because it just keeps reiterating what I keep saying, right? Is don't hesitate to ask him whatever the hell you want to ask him. He's answering some things I didn't even expect him to answer. So, let's see. Let's ask him. Let's do a couple minutes. We'll do 10 minutes of asking him some odd things and see if he can how he responds. So I'm gonna ask him, what do you think the number one thing that retail is taught to look for that actually is the worst thing that they should be looking for because hedge funds know they're looking for it? I'm gonna keep it vague, but see.
The absolute worst thing retail is taught to trade is the obvious breakout or breakdown of a support or resistance level. Hedge funds and market makers know exactly where those stop losses are sitting, so they'll intentionally fake a breakout or breakdown to hunt that liquidity before ripping the price in the other direction.
Yeah, see it, Michael. I mean, he's not wrong, right? I mean, one of the first things we learn is support and resistance. That used to be one of the first things I teach, right? To explain the time frame called macro. Yeah. I'm gonna let him talk. If TikTok flags me, then I'll just stop. But I'm gonna let him talk. We've been on long enough.
In trading, macro refers to a higher time frame than the one you're currently using for execution, providing the necessary context for the bigger picture. If you're scalping on a 1-minute chart, your 5-minute or 15-minute time frame is the macro view, showing you the established trend the price is likely to respect rather than fight.
There you go. Yep, if you guys have a question on TikTok, let me know. And otherwise, I'm going to probably wrap it up here soon so I can go finish with a couple things. But good job, man. It's been a really good week for most people. Let's see. Gotta do a quick text here. Oh, man. Good deal. All right, guys. Any final stuff? I'm going to take the link out of the open session so I don't forget. 2 o'clock Fed news. Don't trade it, guys. It's not worth it. Just watch it, right? Ask Neo if he can interpret it or call it. I'd love to know what he thinks. So, looks like we ended up breaking down to that 396. So you probably got out of that, Duff, or close.
Nah, I closed out when it got like a little too high for me, for my discomfort.
Oh, you're short. Your stop loss above 486. You
But I placed,
You didn't trust Neo.
But I placed some more trades in this
Yeah.
downtrend, so I kind of made like a little bit back.
Okay. I just gotta bust your balls a little bit. Be like, look, Neo said so. Stop above here. If it don't break above it, we're going back down to there. He wasn't wrong. That's where margin matters, right? Because if your margin is low enough, you would not really sweat that, right? You would have just waited it out. So, but good job, guys. Again, I'm gonna continue to do everything in my power to refine user experience, right? Now that he's already done trading. And so I still got some more ideas. Again, for those that aren't sure what to ask him, if you click this field here, it gives you populated stuff. So, and I'm going to be adding to that substantially. So, because I want it where when people type things, it can, pick it up, right? So, but other than that,